You know, with the amount of times they say genius in this movie, they might as well said like, what is this? Some kind of genius going on?
So this is the first episode you have a guest on, huh?
Welcome everybody to the DCOM Duo podcast.
We're the DCOM duo.
I'm Kelsey.
I'm BenG.
We're the DCOM Duo.
You're listening to the DCOM duo.
Except not today.
No, today it's the DCOM trio.
We have a special guest with us.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
I mean, am I supposed to match the energy here, or am I... Okay.
Do your own thing.
Okay. All right, hang on. Yeah, DCOM duo. I'm Ben Butt again. There's a second one. That one's BenG. I'm Ben...
Or
not
Beans.
G or Beans. There's a lot of names.
Yeah, when you have too many Bens in one building, you ultimately have to just go very derivative.
This is not the last Ben you'll meet on the podcast.
Unless we just cancel the podcast after this episode.
That'd be sad.
Yeah.
It would be sad.
I have that effect on podcasts.
So, Ben, we usually call you Beans because...
There is another one of those.
Yeah, we say Beans because you mistyped your name in the group chat when we first met.
I did do that.
So that's what suck.
If you didn't want to be called Beans, shouldn't have mistyped your name.
It's a mistake 4 years in the making. I feel like at this point there's no use trying to go back.
So Beans is one of our roommates in college in Jank House. He's also the only other person in that house to have seen every DCOM with us. Other people were like here and there with their marathon.
Some people were like 70% of them. Some were like 30% of them.
Yeah, Beans was there for all of them.
Yeah, no, regrettably, I just usually had nothing else to do. So whenever they'd just throw something out saying, hey, you want to watch a DCOM? I just couldn't really say no after a certain point. And then I think another thing that's kind of important to mention is that I didn't have any kind of access to Disney Channel as a kid.
At all?
Not at all. So all of these movies that I have seen are purely from a reference point of watching them in my 20s, completely sober.
You have no nostalgia bias on
I do
this.
not care about any of the franchises or characters these are attached to.
You hadn't seen any of them.
No.
Not even High School Musical.
No.
Wow.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So you've seen so many of them because you've seen over 100 now just because you've seen them all.
I've accidentally given myself this like lifelong burden of having to watch these awful movies every time they come out just to be able to, keep up with the Joneses of Jank House.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, really.
It's more a curse than a blessing.
Probably.
Yeah. What gain do we get from this?
Fun.
You get to watch Genius a second time.
You get to appreciate it. Tell us about why you're a part of this podcast for Genius.
Okay, so when the whole DCOM marathon first came into being, people started, we were watching all the really obvious ones. We went like, High School Musical,
Lemonade Mouth,
all the musicals, all the ones people have nostalgia for.
Yep.
I didn't care. So what I did was I looked up like a tier list maker of Disney Channel original movies and then started just rallying really hard for the ones with the funniest
posters.
Yeah, funniest box arts. And the one that really stood out to me was Can of Worms, but everyone vetoed that one. So instead I went with the second best one, which was of this little kid anamorphing into a cooler version of himself. And that movie we would find to be the one we're talking about today.
Yeah, the poster is pretty wild.
It's great.
It's worth a Google if you've seen it. It really just anamorphs is the best way of putting it. He anamorphs into himself with a leather jacket and no glasses.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm going to be the Fonz at 13. And it's incredible.
That is what happens in the movie.
Yeah, it's a very accurate poster if we're being honest.
Yeah, so today we are talking about Genius. Yay.
Everyone's favorite.
Everyone's favorite. We came out here to Wisconsin to visit with Beans because he moved back
I
home.
did do that.
So we're usually in Minnesota, but right now we're in Wisconsin, which is fun because in Genius they also go to Wisconsin.
Yes, we're going to the University of Northern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
The very real school.
Yep, it's
Definitely
real.
exists.
It's real. Yeah. Should we jump into our DCOM Duo factos?
Before we do that, I'd like to shout out our fan mail. We haven't got any fan mail. I asked for fan mail. You guys got to give it to me.
Y'all
I'm a
aren't
needy
delivering.
person. If you want to email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com, we'll talk about it on the podcast. Or you can message us on our social media, most active on TikTok at _DCOM_duo. And yeah, we post stuff decently regularly there. Otherwise, we'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah. All right. DCOM Duo factos. Let's go. Let's get into it.
What's it sponsored by?
No one.
Me.
Oh, Beans.
Oh.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me see how much I have on me.
Oh, nice.
You know what?
Our first sponsor.
I will say always sponsored by. Well, do you want to just say sponsored by me? Do you want to be
sponsored by? Got a Starbucks gift card I never used. Is that? Can we technically
say it's for Starbucks?
It's for Starbucks? I don't know the legal venue.
Can we say Star Beans?
Star
Benz?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or Benz?
Star Benz?
Sponsored by Starbucks.
Sponsored by, sure. We can go with that.
All right, you want to hand Kelsey over the gift card?
Oh, no, I just wanted to show it to you.
Aww.
Okay.
All right, fine. All right, let's jump in. Genius
That's
was...
a different DCOM.
Oh, shit. Okay, let's Genius. Genius was released August 21st, 1999.
I was 11 days old.
I was like 6 months or something. I don't know.
You said August of 99?
Yeah.
I did not exist.
You were close.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
You
getting
almost existed.
Yeah. You almost existed.
Just a little bit.
I was like 8 months old or something. I don't know. I was a little baby. All right, this is the 10th DCOM overall. So only the 10th one, which I'm kind of surprised. Yeah.
I knew it was early. I didn't think it was that
No,
early.
this one's like actually really early. It feels like it should be a little later.
It feels like it fits the DCOM formula more than some later ones.
Right, because like Ringing in the Sight was the 40th. And this one is the 10th. And it's kind of wild.
So you're saying they stagnated in quality for about 30 movies.
Yeah. All right. Director is Rod Daniel. He has directed one other DCOM. Any guesses what it was?
Jumping Ship.
Nope. It was Alley Cat Strike.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
We like Alley Cat Strike.
We
in
do
this
like
podcast.
Alley Cat Strike. He's also directed Beethoven's Second. That is the dog movie, though.
Not like any of the other Beethoven movies, just the second.
Just second. Also, Teen Wolf. That's a big one.
Teen Wolf is
Yep.
big.
And also Home Alone 4.
Shout out Home Alone
Which
4.
one is that?
I have no idea.
That's the second one after changing away from Macaulay Culkin.
Okay.
I remember liking Home Alone 3 because they had the RC car, even though it was different. It's probably a bad movie. And then I remember as a kid disliking Home Alone 4. So.
I've only seen Home Alone 1.
I think I saw the sequels as a kid in like a summer camp I didn't want to be at. So I don't remember anything about the sequels.
He's also directed a few other like movies, but I didn't really recognize them. So, yeah, that's Rod Daniel. All right, our cast. I only put down a couple people because most of the cast like hasn't really done anything. So, we have our main character Charlie. He's played by Trevor Morgan.
He also plays Chaaaz Aaanthony.
He also plays Chaaaz Aaanthony. You are correct. He was in Jurassic Park 3, apparently. Also Barney's Great Adventure. Shout out Barney's Great Adventure. And then some other stuff I don't really know.
Well, he's in Sixth Sense.
He is?
Yeah, that's what it's like. The second thing on his list is.
Why didn't I see that?
That's what I'm saying. Like when you said
the kid in Sixth Sense, is he? Okay.
It's a different kid, but he looks like the kid in Sixth Sense enough that I thought that for a half second too.
I did not see that he was in Sixth Sense. That's fun. Okay.
So he's actually done quite a bit. Like he's still doing stuff.
Really?
He did something as recently as 2018, which I guess is not still doing stuff, but it's pretty recent.
Yeah. All right. Claire is played by Emily Rossum, easily the biggest star of this cast. She was in Phantom of the Opera, like as the star role in Phantom of the Opera. She's also in Shameless. She was the lead in Shameless for many seasons. She's no longer in Shameless, but like she was the face character
Is
of
she
that show.
still going?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Wow.
Or it's like almost done or something. But she left. I watched a good bit of Shameless. I did stop at one point. It was actually before her character left, but I know that she leaves at some point. So yeah, and she's a good actress. I like her a lot. And she's also in other stuff that I don't recognize.
Yeah. She's definitely a actual big deal person.
Yeah. Mike is played by Yannick Bison or Bisson. It looks like he's some kind of TV actor, like he does a lot of TV stuff, but there's nothing I really recognized. And then our scientist Crickstein, he is played by Charles Fleischer. Apparently, he was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, no, he's Roger Rabbit.
He is.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like he does a lot of voice acting stuff.
So he's one of those voice actors who has like just a small little.
Yeah, well, apparently he's Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, that's a
Roger
big
Rabbit.
deal.
Pretty big deal. He was also in Balto 2 and 3. Apparently not 1. And then like other voice acting stuff. So
It looks like he's still doing stuff as well because he's just in the new Chip and Dale
yeah, he was in the new Chip and Dale. So like he does voice acting mostly.
as Roger Rabbit.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, I haven't seen the new Chip and Dale, but that makes sense that he comes back.
It was
as Roger
good
Rabbit.
after looking at all the ads and thinking it was going to be bad. So
Yeah, we still haven't watched it though. And then yeah, so then there's other characters in the movie, but like none of them were big names like at all. So I kind of left them out. I don't know. If there's anyone you guys want to shout out, go ahead.
yeah, I've been taking a quick scan through their Wikipedia pages, but like I'm not seeing all too much.
I'm just scrolling through the IMDb of Charles Fleischer.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of smaller roles from the look of it.
Yeah.
He's just one of those guys who has a voice and probably decently connected.
Yeah. All right, so the only fun fact that I have was that this was the first DCOM to be filmed in Canada.
But it's in Wisconsin.
What? Oh my god, they lied. I don't know, Benji, do you have any facts?
I didn't really find anything much. I didn't do too much research.
There wasn't a lot to find, I feel like, for
There's
Genius.
not too much about this movie.
People don't really care about Genius, I don't think.
It's not one you hear a lot of people talking about.
No, I never heard of it.
It's not like Hounded levels of unknown.
Right.
But
it's not popular. I never heard of it before watching every movie, so. Alright, are we ready for the Disney Plus description?
Believe so.
The best Disney Plus description.
Charlie Boyle, a 14-year-old physics genius and hockey lover, heads to college to study with an awesome scientist. But he feels like a complete outsider. ... Until he meets a girl his own age. To become her friend, Charlie reinvents himself by enrolling in the local junior high and taking on the bad boy image of Chaaaz Aaanthony. At first, he's able to juggle his double life, but it's not long before both worlds collide. ... And he must combine his love for physics and hockey to save the day and win back his friends.
There's really 2 ellipses in the
There's 2 of them.
and neither of them end it.
No.
They could have ended it with a third.
They just really wanted to add some suspense in the description.
They're trying to lengthen out the plot because they know it's a short movie.
Yeah, this one is really short.
It feels short.
It's less than 90 minutes, I believe.
All right. Shall we get to scene by scene?
Yeah, we ready to dive in? Let's go. All right, opening up. We open up on some like organ music. It's like very hockey vibes. And we see the hockey ice and then like the Genius letters pop up. And it has the freaking like atom with the electrons circling around.
Jimmy Neutron eye.
Yeah, Jimmy Neutron eye. So, because he's a genius. He's smart.
Everyone's just like, you can think about atoms. You know what they are. You're smart.
It's
Crazy. And then there's Charlie. He's playing hockey and he's like kind of commentating over his playing. He's also wearing a suit.
I was about to mention, you can tell that he is a little nerdy boy because he is playing hockey in a like just full school uniform suit.
Yeah. Yeah, he says later apparently it's a school uniform. So he must go to some like fancy private school, which makes sense because he's a genius.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gets in on the merit. Yeah, no, like I can't imagine playing hockey on a big suited out adventure, but you just get the whole rink yourself. So I don't know.
So his dad owns the hockey rink. And his dad comes in and Charlie's like, "Oh, science! I used the science to figure out how to hit the puck."
Yeah, he has a little bit of Disney smart kid where just to make him smart that he just kind of says things and everyone else just blank stares at him.
It's one of those things where I'm sure if you understand science, that what he's saying is also just a whole load of bullshit.
Probably.
It probably is.
But it's
I just tune it out.
the concept at this point is way easier to just go, hey, this is just bullshit that they're saying to make us think this guy is smart,
Mhm.
and you're just it's easier to just accept it at this
it's
point.
Just easy way to show off. He's very smart, not socially smart at all.
No.
Yeah.
No. And then Charlie goes, "Oh, I have a new invention to show you." And it's a little like robot because the dad's like, "I need a Zamboni." And he goes, "Well, let me help you out." And he puts this little thing on the ice and he hits it and it like Zambonis the ice.
It does Zamboni the ice.
Which I like to point out, we never see this object again when I feel like it easily could have come back again.
They just wanted to show that he's like actually super smart. I thought it was gonna not work. And it'd be like, oh, the crazy scientist that his inventions never work, but it's like, no, it actually worked.
Smart.
He's just really smart.
He just nails everything.
Yeah,
like later on in the movie, I'll get to the point where I think it could be used, but it could be used and could save the day, but it's just forgotten about as like
he didn't have it with him.
It's probably the most impressive device of the movie.
Except when they fly. What the hell?
Okay, we'll get to that when we get to that.
But the Zamboni.
Oh yeah, Zambonis. That's way more useful than.
I'm not saying useful. I'm saying impressive.
Oh yeah, it's not impressive to defy gravity at all.
Not in the slightest.
All right, so then our next like bunch of scenes, Charlie leaves to go play street hockey because he loves hockey.
There are two things he loves in this world.
Yeah, it's physics.
One is trying to find the gravitron.
No, it's the graviton.
The graviton.
And that's something that I think we have to mention is just the thickest Chicago accent out there on young Charlie Boyle. It just kind of made his character for me. Just
is he from Chicago?
At least Chaaaz Aaanthony is.
At least
Chaaaz Aaanthony is, but I was wondering if that was a lie.
I think Charlie's from Chicago.
I think he's from Chicago. I think it's easier to just assume that. We don't get like confirmation on it, but I think we can just assume it.
I believe it. I believe that he's like Midwest and then goes to the Midwest.
No, he wouldn't pronounce his A's like that if he's from anywhere to either side.
Nice. Okay, so Charlie's really hoping that he's gonna actually be included in the game today. So we cut to like the street hockey. They have their rollerblades on, so they're like really having a good time. It's not like my gym hockey where we're in our sneakers and we're just kind of running around with sticks.
It's not field hockey, it's street hockey.
Yeah, it's street hockey. Yeah. So Charlie is like cheering on from the bench and he keeps asking like, "Can I come in?" But nobody likes him, so they don't let him play. And then so he goes like, "Hey, can I play?" And one of the kids goes, "For someone so smart, you're pretty stupid."
Which is very accurate.
Why'd you think we'd let you play? It's like they're calling him stupid for thinking that he could play hockey with that.
Well, he is, especially in these early scenes, very annoying. Like, I'm not saying kids deserve to be bullied. I am not.
Yeah, he just wants to play.
Yeah,
but I get why he was bullied.
Yeah, he's not doing anything wrong, but like,
he's just a little.
He can be a little much.
Yeah. So then Charlie goes like, "Oh, I have this new puck I invented," and then he like whacks it, and it's like super powerful. And later they're playing with it, and it's not that powerful. No. So I don't know. Maybe he's actually really good at hitting the puck.
I think all it was is that it's a puck you can actually use on like a street.
Yeah.
It's not like a ball.
That's the point of the invention, but like when he first whacks it, it like knocks the net over and shit.
Oh, I think that's because he was probably using his cheater stick, which we'll get to.
He invented that yet. Or did he invent his
I
cheater
don't
stick?
know. We'll talk about the
I don't
cheater
know.
stick later.
Okay. So the kids are like impressed. They're like, "Oh, whoa, this puck is cool." So they're like, "All right, you can play with us." But then Charlie starts rambling on about science, and they go, "You know what? No, you can't play with us anymore." They're like, actually, go sit on the bench again. Maybe we'll work you
You
in."
make a puck, you get in. You still be annoying after making
Yeah.
a puck. Like,
He
no,
should've
you.
just shut up.
He doesn't know when
He's
to.
doing his best. He's 13, 14, whatever.
He's like
age.
13 or 14. He was in. He got in, and he just kept talking about science.
He needs to know the social situation where, like, he needs to be quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's good
He's
socially.
proud of what he's accomplished.
Which he should
He
be.
should be. But also, like,
If he wants to get with the boys, you got to play by their rules.
yeah,
And he's not.
he's not. He needs a better group of friends, what he needs. All right, so then he goes over back on the bench, and there's a girl who's just been sitting on the bench this whole time. And he tries to, like, make small talk with her, and she just, like, gets up and walks away. Maybe she was hoping to play too, but she's like, fuck it, I'm not going to listen to this kid talk. I'm leaving.
This isn't worth it. And this is where he starts talking about the Dr. Kirkstein.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
does bring him up because he's a big fan of this
Yeah.
professor.
Some people have bands on their wall that they idolize. Charlie has a poster of this doctor.
Did he really?
No, but like I just
He
imagine
would.
I
that.
think he had like an Einstein poster somewhere.
He
That
did.
makes
I remembered
sense.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, he loves a scientist because he's like studying gravity and how to defy gravity, basically. All right, so cut to that night back at. Oh no, he's still on the bench.
He's still on the
He
bench.
like stays on that
Yeah, he
bench
stayed on the bench till
long after they're
Yeah.
gone.
like the sun goes down and he's still sitting on the bench.
Like he saw them all pack up their stuff and was just so sad that he didn't get to play that he stayed there for like another hour probably. It was just so sad. Which is honestly really depressing.
Yeah.
And then
It's
he
sad,
leaves.
but-
It's sad. Like why did he stay?
There's not a good answer for
There's
that.
not
Just to
a
make a
answer.
sad moment in the
Just
movie.
to make us sad that he didn't get to play. Okay. So then he goes home and he's in his room and his dad brings him some brain food and he's like, "Oh, you skipped dinner." And like you skipping dinner to feel sorry for yourself and he goes, "No, I took some time to feel sorry for some third world countries also."
That
He's a little smart ass.
he is a little smart. Like that is such a smart ass response. He also says he doesn't need the brain food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what he's doing is he's working on his cheater stick.
The running theme of this movie, as you'll soon quick to find, it's just he loves cheating.
He
Everyone
does.
in this movie loves cheating, and cheating is super good and will save the day.
And if you're mad that someone else is cheating, you just cheat harder.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so then the dad is like, "Hey, guess what? I have a bunch of acceptance letters from all these colleges. Like there's Harvard, there's Princeton,
Got some MIT.
MIT probably, yeah.
Caltech.
Yeah. Like all of these really, really big prestigious
He
schools.
starts dancing.
He starts dancing, they're doing like a conga line.
But the conga line is just him.
It's just him. It's a single conga line. The dad's like, "Let me help you decide." And he's like, "Nah, I already decided. Because I got into Northern University of Wisconsin.
I was like, I didn't even know you applied.
Yeah,
there.
and he's like-
I needed the look.
I didn't want to jinx it. Like, it'd be really hard to get into this school after you got into fucking Harvard."
To be fair, I think they offered him less than like Harvard did.
Probably
Yeah.
did. It's like the worst scholarship ever.
Yeah, it's a scholarship in exchange for having to teach a class.
Yeah.
You normally get paid to teach it.
Yeah, no, it's like that's just part of the deal is he has to teach a couple classes.
Although I guess he's not really taking classes in the college himself. He's just
He should
immediately
be.
working. He's like immediately like a tenured professor.
Yeah, well, they don't show us him and taking college classes, but we gotta assume that he is, right? Or is he just doing research?
He might just be doing research.
That's ridiculous.
He may just immediately have skipped college and high school to go be a professor.
Maybe this is a better deal then, except he's not getting paid.
Yeah, he's not getting paid. He's getting like to the tuition to pay for like the shitty dorm room he's in
Yeah.
and the class that he has to teach. And then any other classes, like he never goes to a class at the school.
Is it even legal to have a 14-year-old teach a college class? It is just a lab, though.
I think at the University of Minnesota that happened.
Really?
Yeah, there was someone when we were at school there who at least I know someone went into grad school, and if you're in grad school, you're usually supposed to teach.
Yeah, they do have them teach like a physics lab.
Right.
So like I gotta assume that that's like the lab portion of the class, and that there's an actual professor that's like teaching. But I don't know.
Yeah, if he's just like a really young TA, that's a different story.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Charlie's like I didn't want to jinx it. So he says that school's paid for as long as he teaches 3 classes. And he says that the reason he wants to go to this school is because his favorite researcher doctor is there, Krickstein, and he's studying the gravity ship. So he also is like, the lab is right under the hockey rink because it cools down the lab or whatever. So it's my 2 favorite things. It's hockey and it's physics, and they're right next to each other.
And I hope they're not diametrically opposed.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a bummer? Imagine if he had to choose between hockey. That literally never happens. So imagine if he had to choose.
It's a DCOM. Like, there are 3 movies, and one of them is choose between your 2 hobbies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this one's very close to being that, but instead it's the other one.
It's choose between your personalities.
Yep.
And then the dad goes, all right, guess we don't need this Harvard letter anymore. And he throws it in the garbage.
We ought to be clear about this because this is incredible. They animate him throwing it in the garbage.
Yeah.
It's not like just a showing of him dropping it in the trash can. They show it slowly float down with an animated Harvard logo
From
on
the
it.
garbage's
They
perspective.
paid CGI to do that. And they love that scene so much that I'm surprised they only showed it once.
Yeah. We get like the very dramatic Harvard letter falling into the trash with like the dawn, like, oh, it's over. Harvard's gone. And then Charlie shows off his cheater stick.
Oh my god.
He's like, hey dad, check out my new stick. And he hits a hockey puck and like breaks the fucking window.
And you just see him so proud of himself. He's like, oh man, the kids on the street are really gonna like me with this one.
This lethal weapon.
Yeah, it's like, oh
fucking
man, they
weapon.
didn't like it when like I just talked science to them. But once I cheat my way to the top, then they'll respect me.
Yeah.
Charlie doesn't have the social IQ.
No. All right, so now they get to
We-
college.
Well, we should mention also, he uses the stick indoors and probably gets like 80 lawsuits against the family because he breaks through like 5 consecutive buildings.
Does he really?
Yeah,
I don't believe it.
It smashes through the window, and we hear at least 4 voices that go like, ah.
Or the window broke. Imagine if like all of these windows on these buildings are perfectly lined up, that you hit the hockey puck
Just
and
a
it goes
trick
all-
shot through.
They're like 5 houses.
Pretty great.
All right, so now they're at college, and we have the very stereotypical like college music playing, like do do do.
Right,
We're
and we
at
get
marching band.
get introduced to one of my favorite characters in the movie, Dean Turtleneck.
That's in a little bit, but yeah,
The
if you want to
Dean
talk about the Dean.
sucks, but in a way that's very funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he's like
he's
the very
extra.
stereotypical
Just,
evil.
like aggressively awful Dean who's just like not afraid to be openly malicious towards everyone who's underneath him.
He's so funny.
He is very much abusing his power, and I'm there for it.
And he's just like a random dean of a college in northern
Yeah, it's just the
Wisconsin.
middle of nowhere in Wisconsin, and he just has so much power,
Yeah.
and he is willing to use every ounce of it.
He does
So funny.
so much for his own gain without consulting people. It's great.
He's just having fun.
Having a good time, yeah. All right, so Charlie arrives to school. He like has his hockey bag, which apparently this is all he brings with him, is like everything in a hockey
The
bag.
only thing he's moving in with is a hockey bag.
I mean, he's 13. What possessions does he have?
Clothes?
Yeah, he's 13.
Books?
You think he does laundry? He's 13.
He has to bring clothes.
Well, he's gonna be living on his own.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to figure it out somehow.
He's 13.
I guess
He's
he is
responsible.
He is a genius, so
He is a
They are just like
genius.
letting him be on his own in a dorm, because like it's the first step of like moving out of your parents' house and becoming an adult.
Yeah.
is like being responsible for yourself, feeding yourself,
This
doing
is
your
the
laundry.
first kid in the family to go to college.
Yeah, they did mention that he's the first one ever to go to
Which,
college.
first off, what are the genetics on allowing that to happen? I don't know.
He just watched a lot of Sesame Street.
Had the brain real big.
He got all of the brain juice from like generations.
He's going 5 years early to college.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, maybe they just don't know, like, hey, this is kind of weird to let your son there. Also, we never see the mom in the entire movie.
No.
We see the dad a fair bit.
A couple of times we see the dad. Yeah. But we gotta assume the mom is around.
Well,
right?
yeah, no, we hear the mom once.
Oh, yeah, we do hear the mom. She's like, I heard that like he like insulted her food or something.
He's like, oh man, casserole, am I right?
I heard that. Oh, the mom exists. All right. So at the school, we cut to the hockey team. They're practicing, and Charlie shows up and he's watching. He's so excited. And the coach starts talking about how much the team sucks. And they're like, all right, so we're going to play the other team. They're like super physical.
Good old Rumson.
And they always
with
like
their star move of assaulting the referee and then assaulting your best player.
they like their strategy literally is to injure the best player so that they win.
I'm like just putting this in now. Like, their slogan for their team is "Rack 'em up, boys," and their illegal moves called the Rumson Rack.
Yep.
They
Rack 'em up,
recruit
boys.
exclusively from broken homes.
I did this later. It's
such
so
a
funny.
It's just a random throwaway line.
It's like, oh yeah, they recruit them from broken. Oh my gosh.
The evil school that cheats so hard that you're okay with your own cheating. That's a good trope.
Imagine cheering for that school. So then they're in the hockey rink and the lights start going all hooky. And the team's annoyed and they're like, I thought they were gonna cut the fucking scientist program. Like I thought he was gonna go away. And the coach goes like, well, yeah, they were, but then they got some super genius kid that's gonna help them solve the mysteries of the universe or some garbage. And then Charlie's like, oh fuck, that's me. And he tries to leave, but then the dean shows up.
The dean is here to ruin everyone's day at any point. With a big smile on his face.
I loved how much they were like trash talking inside. They're like, some motherfucking kid is coming. Like, what is he doing here?
God. Yeah, screw this kid. And then once they meet him, they start like threatening this 13-year-old.
Because they're mad that the scientist is still like doing research under their hockey rink.
Yeah, no, the amount of like hockey players who are willing to like make active threats towards this child is just incredible.
Like the guy, I forgot his name, what they call him, it's like Moose or something.
Oh,
Buck
Bear?
Bear like breaks a fucking hockey stick in front of him. Like,
for no reason other than
threat
just
him, threaten him.
No, fucking star of the hour Mike is like, I'm gonna fucking slit your throat, kid.
Yeah, we do also. Yeah, we meet our star player, Mike.
definitely not the equipment manager.
Yeah. So then the dean shows up and he's like, "Oh yes, this is Charlie Boyle. He is a genius child," and he's like, "Let's go, Charlie." And Charlie's like, "I think they all hate me." And the dean goes, "What? Those losers?"
Yeah.
Also, if they lose their hockey game, they're gonna get cut.
Mm-hmm.
The dean does not care.
What matters is prestige, Charlie, and how much money you'll make me.
The dean literally just goes to the coach and goes, "Hey, yeah, if you lose this game this year, you're fired.
You're fired." And the hockey program's cut. Like, even though it's like we find out later, it's the conference championship. They're making it to the championship.
Yeah.
They just need to win the championship to stay afloat.
Which, to be fair, like in a college setting, that completely is a thing. It's usually not a thing if you're going to consider cutting the program entirely.
That's like such a TV and movie thing where it's like, oh, your club better win the championship or you're fucking cut.
But like, there are people, I'm thinking college footballs. I have a history of watching college sports and like college football, college basketball, where I focus on mostly. They definitely have coaches in both those leagues where they're doing well and they're like making it high level playoff games, and they get fired because they're not doing well enough. They're not winning the big ones.
They should not be this hard on Northern University of Wisconsin, I
No.
think, though.
No, this is some like D3 college, and the coach is obviously recruiting well enough to get a good enough team. We don't know how much funding is going into this. Maybe
Yeah.
Rumson spends no money because they're recruiting exclusively from broken homes.
They're probably cheaper. Yeah. All right. So then the dean takes Charlie down to the lab, and immediately Charlie's like not impressed. He's like, "This place is a fucking dump." Which like is it? I don't know what a good lab should
Well,
look. Maybe
it's just that the equipment is old.
the equipment's old and it's like under the hockey rink.
It's still a working particle accelerator, which those things cost hella money.
Yeah. So he's looking around and he's like, oh no. And he has a flashback of the dad throwing the Harvard letter. They used the same animation again. They really needed to use
They
that.
needed to
Best
justify the
budget.
tax write-off.
And he has a voiceover that goes, so much for Harvard.
Pretty great. No
So
complaints.
funny. He's like, fuck, I should have gone to Harvard. Which I do not think it's too late to
It's not.
switch.
Been there a
It's not.
day.
You're a child prodigy, like they're going to let
Yeah.
you in.
Like, oh, I threw away the letter. Obviously, they're not gonna let me in now. It's ridiculous. But then Krickstein shows up, and he's like, "Hey, Charlie, I know you're disappointed in like my shitty lab,
Yeah.
but we don't really have a budget. But I know that like you and me together, we're gonna figure out the gravitron.
Like, I read your paper. It was brilliant.
It
And
was
like,
brilliant.
Yeah, no, Krickstein's like just a nice guy
He's a super nice guy.
who's trying his best to like make this middle schooler feel less awful.
he is a
Gee.
better parental role figure than the dad.
He's like one of the best DCOM dad equivalents out there.
He's just like genuinely excited to be working with Charlie because he knows how smart he is.
Yeah.
So that's like cool. He doesn't like treat him like a kid.
No. And
At
when he
all.
has his own issues that are definitely kid related, he's like there to help him out,
Yeah.
but still like focus on work.
Yeah.
'cause
More like a friend
Yeah.
than a.
he's a cool dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a cool guy. And then Charlie goes, well, at least my roommate's nice. And he's like, have you met your roommate? And he's like, no, I talked to him on the phone and he called me dude. So
It's totally gonna go okay.
yeah, it's gonna go great. So then Charlie goes to his dorm, which is called the Lair, I think. It's like it has a
It's way too
A
big to
fun
be a
name.
college
it's
dorm.
like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so he walks in, there's like a whole living room, and then there's like sliding barn doors to another room. This is not a fucking dorm room.
Maybe this is why you chose University of Northern.
University of Northern has just like functional living arrangements.
Random side note, because I don't know where else to put this. The University of Northern's mascot, like their team name, is the Lights. So they're the Northern Lights.
Aw,
I didn't catch that.
That's
Okay,
cute. I
It's
like
both
that.
cute, but also it's kind of funny to be like, let's go, Lights.
Yeah, light it up. Lights.
It's both good and bad.
I mean, they should go Northern Lights. Go north.
Let's,
Ooh.
let's go, Lighty the Light.
Lights.
What do you think their mascot is?
Just a light bulb.
A light bulb.
The Aurora Borealis.
Yeah. Also, okay, I want to mention this now. Where the fuck are Charlie's parents? Why are they not helping him move in?
There's not a good answer.
I mean, he only has a duffel bag worth of stuff to move in, apparently.
Apparently,
He doesn't need help there.
he gets
my
dropped
parents-
off there.
my parents helped me move into my dorm.
Yeah, no, that's
What?
very common.
It's a normal
And
thing to
it's-
do.
There's no good explanation for why the parents aren't there to help.
Is it
Except
like
I guess
middle-
because the parents would stop him from being Chaaaz
Yeah, well,
Aaanthony.
the parents would also stop him from being bullied by the like adult man he's rooming with.
Is it the middle of the school year? Do you think it's the beginning of like? It's definitely winter. So is it like spring
I
semester?
think it's spring semester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Is
I
that when
don't
you
know
play
when-
hockey?
Hockey's normally winter. Maybe it's a winter term.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's just always cold in Wisconsin. We wouldn't know.
Yeah, who would ever know?
It's not like we have.
Who lives in Wisconsin willingly?
Crazy. All right. So he goes into his huge fucking multi-bedroom dorm room. And then we see that his roommate is the star hockey player, Mike. Who, by the way, Mike looks like he's 30 years old.
Yeah, no, like, which I guess it's a college setting, so you can get away with that a little more.
More than high school,
But
yeah.
it also makes them like treating this young child like crap way like weirder.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, the bullying is never really
Yeah,
gets.
it's like middle school bullying, but they're all adults bullying a 13-year-old.
So we could assume he's definitely at least 18. He's probably more like 20.
Probably.
Like, just ruthlessly bullying this child. He calls him Pintstein.
Mhm.
Fucking got him.
That's a good line, to be honest. Pintstein, that's incredible.
All right, so we see that like, oh, he's not happy, but all right, we'll see how that turns out. All right, so now it's a new day, and Charlie goes to teach his first class. He's like, "Why do I have to teach a physics lab?" And the dean's like, "Because you like physics."
You like physics.
Duh.
This is an opening for you.
He does talk like that.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, you like physics, Charlie.
Charlie, don't upset me. You won't like me when I'm angry, Charlie.
The scholarship fucking sucks. So Charlie walks into the classroom and he's like, "I'm Charlie." And he starts writing Charlie on the board. And right in the middle of writing it, like a huge fucking book-sized spit wad.
Is that what
It's-
it's supposed to be?
Yeah, it was like a
So
spitball, but it was
confusing.
ginormous. It was like the
Okay.
size of his head. I want to know, because we see it was like Mike that threw it.
Right.
Did Mike have it ready?
I think he had it in his hand, waiting to throw.
Waiting for, because he like probably saw that Charlie was teaching. Because you see your professor
Well,
name.
no, the second he sees Charlie walking in, he's like, oh, God, I
Give
gotta
me
give
the
him some
paper towels. Give me the paper towels.
He just opens a notebook, tears out every page, just
In his
starts
mouth?
shoving it into his
He,
mouth.
he gets everyone to like team up, spit on
God.
it.
And then he chucks it at the wall.
I would like to say, I think for the first time in the podcast history, we've had a goop joke.
Yeah, this is, I think, our first goop moment. It's not, I
Really?
don't know if it qualifies as a goop moment.
I think
though.
so.
Was there
It
actually-
doesn't hit him, though.
Was there genuinely no Goop and Hounded?
Which
No,
was
there was
surprising.
no
There
goop
was
and
kind
Hounded.
of one because the dog eats spaghetti and gets messy, but it's not a goop joke.
Usually, goop is like something goopy lands on someone's head or on their body. But this doesn't happen like that. It just hits the chalkboard.
But it also makes a squirt
It does.
sound
It does
effect.
make this Goop noise.
And it's just the paper towel spitball thingy is just goop.
Yeah.
It is goopy.
It is just nondescript Goop.
I want to keep a tally of goop moments. If anyone has an argument, like we can say this is not, but I think this is goop moment number 1. I have the prediction that there are more goop moments than Disney Channel original movies.
I mean,
I can
Dad
think of
Nap.
a couple of movies that'll give you like a solid 10.
Dad Napped is
Yeah.
so much goop.
And I want to keep a tally going to see if that truly is going. So this would be goop moment number 1.
I don't know if it counts, but if you want to count it.
Well, if we're trying to meet this arbitrary requirement, you got to get as many Goop moments as you can.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
We need to define a goop moment. Can we define that right now?
I think the goop has to hit someone's body or face or something.
I think there has to be a sound effect. It has to be icky, like you don't want it on you.
Yeah.
And it has to be played as a joke,
Yeah, like gross stuff as a punchline.
Yeah.
which I think all of those are hit by this. It's just not, he's not hit by it, but his
You
writing
think
is.
it doesn't have to hit someone's body, it just has to be goopy?
I mean, honestly, I think this is going to be an exception to the rule for the most part. Because I think most Goop moments I can think of.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't
hit
happen
people.
often where it's not hitting the person. So we can accept this one.
Yeah.
We'll
Or-
see how many going forward are there's goop that's not on someone's head. We'll see. All right. So the huge fucking spitwad hits the board. And while this is happening, Charlie goes like, "I'm Charlie, I'll be teaching this class." And Mike goes, he hits the spitwad, he goes, "And I'll be disrupting."
The class goes wild. For
They
that.
like start fucking clapping.
As we start to learn, you say something mildly rebellious in a school setting, and everyone finds it the
Oh,
funniest shit.
It's so cool.
I just love that they like applaud him.
Yeah.
They're laughing, they're
So true.
clapping.
So true.
So
Good
true.
answer.
Oh.
Good answer.
Oh, you
Oh,
really owned that kid, Mike.
you fucking own that 13-year-old. Good job, Mike. Like, this is not what college is like.
Not in the
You're paying
slightest.
fucking money to go here, and you're gonna ruthlessly bully your TA? Like, no. I would
Yeah.
be like, shut the fuck up, Mike. I'm here to fucking learn. Like, I would switch classes
I mean,
because of Mike.
in his defense, like, regardless of how much of a prodigy the kid is, if I have a class being taught by like a 14-year-old, I am a little suspect about the quality of my education. Just because, like, regardless of how qualified he is, it's like he's not qualified to teach this.
He
stuff.
doesn't have a
just
teaching
it.
degree. Yeah. No, you got a good point there.
So then back at the dorm room, Charlie is like shoved in the back part of the room, and like
Yeah.
Mike's stuff is gone. So I think we're led to believe that Mike left, or at least left that part of the room. And he's like, oh, I guess I'm by myself back here.
Oh no, you have a private space
Yeah.
in your room.
I would
That's
fucking
a
kill for
really
that.
nice-
I guess, Beans, you had a private dorm room.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was because I got shoved in this weird closet that was so bad that they paid me to stay there.
Really?
Yeah, no, I got like $300 given to me at the end of each semester for having such a like small shitty room.
Damn. So it's worse than Charlie was
Oh,
at.
it was super bad because Charlie's room was freaking massive. It was
That's
like at
like
least 300. I think
huge.
it was at least 3 times as big as what I was staying in for a year.
He got like a desk in the middle of the fucking room.
He has room to have a like really nicely sized desk just in the middle of his room. Can fit his bed just fine. Like you can walk around in that room.
Yeah.
I had like a bed, the cabinet, and like a 2-foot walkway in the middle, and that was pretty
And that's
much all he
it?
could fit.
Damn. Charlie doesn't know how good he has it.
Mhm.
And then he looks out and there's a bunch of college kids partying and he's all sad that he's not included. And I'm like, dude, you're 14.
You're
These are
14.
college students that are like drinking. There's probably like weed. And like he is not age appropriate for that kind of party. And he's so sad that he's not included.
And also, he could have just gone down there and theoretically been included. Because that's like the one
He
happening on
probably would have
campus.
been bullied. So it was a good call to not go down there.
Yeah.
All right. So the next day, he's telling our professor, Doc, or whatever you want to call him, Crickstein. I think he calls him Doc. It's like, hey, Doc,
Quite a bit.
there's a party going on and people don't like me. And he's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm not good at making friends.
Yeah.
And Doc was like, it's pretty funny that you're asking me for advice because I'm such a
Yeah.
fucking loser. But
And then it's like weirdly implied that he like made a robot named Doris, and then like
that's later.
is that later? I
That
thought it
is
was-
later.
Okay.
Because that's when he's asking for girl advice.
Okay.
And he's like, the only girl I ever made
yeah.
was.
No. Okay. So the implication that Crickstein fucked a robot is later.
That's later. We'll hit
All
that
right.
later.
We'll get to it.
Yeah. So this is the part where he's like, stop trying to do the same thing over and over again.
Right.
Try something new. You know, because what you're doing isn't working for
You're
you.
doing the definition of insanity or
Yeah.
in
but
science
they
experiment.
don't say it's the definition of
Because no, they're doing the
insanity.
sign thing where it's like, no, it's dumb to do the same experiment without changing any
Yeah.
variable. It's a more scientific way of doing definition
I
of
mean,
insanity.
Isn't the insanity quote literally from a
It's
scientist?
from Einstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, that might be a falsely like attributed quote because like every quote eventually gets attributed to Einstein.
Yeah, that's
Einstein
fair.
said everything.
Einstein said genius was the best DCOM.
Do you think Einstein would think genius is? I think Einstein's a lemonade mouth fan.
No, he's full on team can of worms.
He probably would like can of
Yeah.
worms. Can of worms is fun. All right. So then Charlie's like, all right, I'm gonna go work out at the ice rink. Cool. And then the song starts playing. This song, all right, I have a DCOM CD that BenG got for me for my birthday last year. It's like from these early movies. It's called Here's Premieres.
They make the ears pun for Disney twice.
What he ears premieres.
yeah. Mickey doesn't only have one ear. You gotta do it twice.
Two
But it's
ears.
ears.
Ears. And there's like 2 Genius songs. The first one is called like the Prince You Charmed, which I don't know where that is in this movie at all. The second is just like
The score.
the score, and in the background you hear the woman going. "Ah."
I really hope the mic
I don't
doesn't
know
pick
if it-
that up.
I don't know if it picks up. "Ah."
It's like the Halo theme song, except multiple octaves higher.
Yeah. Whatever. She's singing, and it's this part of the movie where he walks in and he sees a girl ice skating around, and oh, I have that song on a CD in my car. Love it. So Charlie sees this girl ice skating on the rink, and he's like instantly falling in love with her, right? She's doing some like figure skating and she's like commentating over herself like he was doing earlier with the hockey game. So she's like cute and quirky. And then she sees him and she skates over and she goes, "Oh, hi, I'm Claire." And Charlie starts going, "I'm ch 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 ch," and then it flashbacks to the girl.
To 5 minutes ago.
No, it flashbacks first to the girl on the bench that walked away when
Right.
he was just talking, and then it flashback to like literally in the movie 30 seconds ago of the professor saying like, "Stop doing the same
Doing
thing."
this.
And then he goes, I'm Chaaaz from Chicago."
And he rips off his glasses.
He rips off his glasses. He goes, "I'm Chaaaz." Banger alias name. And Claire's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Where do you go to school?" And he's like, "Where do you go to school?" And she's like, "Franklin." And he's like, "Oh, me too. I'm new. I'm new in town." He's acting all cool. And so they're like, "Okay, we'll see you later." And then we cut to Charlie on the computer in the lab, in his like research lab. And he's like, I don't know if he broke into the Franklin database or if he just like submitted an
I
enrollment.
think he literally just enrolled himself.
Yeah. He just enrolled himself in school and he's like, "Looks like Franklin has a new student, Chaaaz Aaanthony."
He says it in this voice, and we saw Genius pretty early on in the marathon.
Yeah.
We have for years gaslit ourselves into saying this doesn't exist, that this scene doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think because of that, I think personally I gaslit myself into thinking I hated this movie because I'm like, okay, if the funny line for this movie is something that we made up, it must have sucked, right? I was convinced Genius was awful because I didn't think Chaaaz Aaanthony was real.
But no, he goes,
Something like that.
he says
it
Chaaaz Aaanthony.
And that's like after we watched this movie, we just kept going Chaaaz Aaanthony. It's so good.
Coolest kid.
He's the coolest kid ever.
The coolest kid in town. He's got the sunglasses and leather jacket.
And the leather jacket that's way too big for
Gotta
him.
steal your girl.
Where did he get the leather jacket?
I don't know.
Does he have money?
Charlie just refuses to wear a jacket that fits him in this movie. Everything he wears is at least like a size or two too big. It's great.
Yeah, so it's like the next day or maybe it's like a week later. I don't know. He's putting on his cool sunglasses and his leather jacket, and he like spiked up his hair.
I'd also like to point out he always takes off his glasses, but like doesn't act like it's harder for him to see.
There is a scene where he's like, "How do people see these things?" He's wearing his sunglasses indoors and he like runs into a wall.
But that's because he's wearing sunglasses.
I think it's also because he can't see. Maybe he's wearing contacts.
Maybe.
He could be wearing contacts.
I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't need the glasses.
Maybe they're just to look smart.
So Chaaaz, he shows up to class late and he like gets his sleeve stuck in the door and he's like, "Yo," and the class laughs at him saying "yo" because it's really funny. He's at the junior high.
Literally anything Chaaaz Aaanthony says is gonna come with a crowd of laughter.
Yeah.
He's
so cool.
killing it.
Cool.
He's so cool.
He hates nerds. He hates them so much.
I fucking hates them. The teacher's like, "Go sit down, or you're gonna go to the principal's office." And then he opens the door like he's gonna go to the principal's office, but then he goes, "Never mind." Like he plays off that his sleeve was stuck in the door. So smooth, like, you know. He's so cool. And then there's this kid named Odie who's wearing a Hawaiian shirt in the middle of winter.
Yeah, like Hawaiian shirt, bucket hat in the middle of winter.
It's a style.
His name's Odie. That's the name of my dog.
I think it's because his last name is like O'Donnell.
Yeah, it's a nickname. He says his real name, but I didn't write it down because his name's Odie.
Cares?
And he's like, "Whoa, Chaaaz is so hardcore." And then the teacher goes like, "What? I'll be teaching this class." And Chaaaz goes, and I'll be disrupting it.
Wow.
Bam, 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 bam.
Mike could really steal for like copyright right now.
He's like, oh my gosh, I'm so cool now. And everybody laughs because Chaaaz is the best. And then another class, we're in like a science class now. Chaaaz corrects the teacher because they're talking about like the orbit of the sun. He's like,
Right.
it's an elliptical. And the teacher's like, well, yeah, you're right. It is an elliptical. And he's like,
Wait,
yeah.
I'm not supposed to be smart.
Yeah, I told a kid I was beating up told me that it was elliptical. I beat up children.
I like to just imagine that a bully is beating up a kid and the kid's like yelling out like the planet's moving elliptical.
Yeah, so he's playing off that he's like, I'm not smart. I beat up smart kids because I'm cool. And then in the hallway, Odie introduces Chaaaz to Dion, who's the other like friend. I don't know.
They don't do anything.
They don't do much. And then Chaaaz goes, I gotta go finish my experiment. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna see like how much I can be in school without actually being in school or something stupid like that. And then he leaves. He flips his sunglasses down just with his head.
So nice.
It's like
He's
so smooth.
Just goes like and then puts the sunglasses
later,
on.
And then Odie's like, whoa, he's ditching his
my
first
God.
day at lunch. He's the bomb.
So cool.
I wish I was him.
I wish I would skip class. All right, so then back at the lab, Charlie's there, and I'm like, how the fuck does he have time to? I'm assuming he's taking college classes, but maybe he's not.
I don't
He's
think
also
he is.
going to junior high and teaching a class and doing fucking research. Does he sleep?
Maybe that's why he's so smart.
He's a genius. He cheated sleep, and
Cheated sleep.
now he's always active.
It's insane. He does not have enough time. I know he's skipping class right now,
Yeah,
but like, what the fuck is
Maybe he's
that?
skipping college classes.
yeah. He doesn't
Because
need
he's that
lectures.
he's so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the presser goes like, "Hey, Chaaaz," and it's like, "Oh shit, you caught me." And he's like, "How'd you know?" And he's like, "You literally left it open on my computer. Like you're pretty
know,
fucking dumbass if you."
You're smart, but you're not smart enough to just like clear
Close
out
the
your search
tab.
history.
Literally close
the
it.
chart, just close the tab.
Close the fucking tab, Charlie. But then Doc, that's what we're calling him, he's like, I don't fucking care what you do.
I'm not your dad.
I'm not your
Just
dad.
do your work.
Yeah, just do your work and like
as
I
long
don't
as
give
we
a fuck.
find this graviton, I am Gucci.
Yeah, you can go live a double life. I don't care. That's why he's just like a cool guy. He's just a chill friend.
See, this is what you actually want in a bad boy. You're like, I don't care about you messing up your life.
Yeah.
But actually, he's also like excited that Charlie is like starting to make
Oh,
friends.
you have friends?
I wish I had friends.
Yeah. You want to hear that about this robot I made?
All right, so cut to Charlie like practicing talking to Claire in the mirror.
Oh God.
He's so lame.
He
He's
just
like,
keeps doing
"Hey."
like really awkward impressions.
Yeah, he's doing these dumb
He's
impressions.
doing Elvis and shit.
Oh yeah, 13-year-olds in the 90s were all about Elvis.
He was the hit thing.
Yeah, and then outside of his bedroom in the other part of this ginormous dorm room, there's like kind of a party going on a bit, and Mike is showing off all these scars that he has. And then Bear tries to show off a scar, but Mike's like, no, Bear, no. It's about the story. It's not about the scar.
No one cares about your appendicitis,
Yeah.
Bear.
Girls like bad boys. And then Charlie goes, damn right they do. So this is where he's like, I'm going to be a bad boy now. So next day, Chaaaz, he's like bragging about all of his detentions, and he's late to class, and he like rollerblades in because we know he likes to rollerblade because he loves hockey. And Odie goes like, what the heck, man? Oh, because Chaaaz like he goes like, hey Claire, what's up? Because he likes Claire. And Odie's like, what the heck, man? Like Claire's not gonna go for you. She's in the honor society. And Chaaaz is like, yeah, and honor society girls don't like honor society boys.
As an honor society girl, can you tell us, verify this?
I mean, I'm dating an honor society boy in BenG.
When you were in honor society.
If I were to date anyone in high school, I probably would have been an honor society boy. Like I
All right, so
I feel like
Odie's
that's
got a
kind of-
correct read.
yeah, and that's definitely Claire's read too.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't.
No, it's
really
definitely true for
care.
Claire.
She doesn't really care about bad boys. Like Charlie eventually kind of charms his way in, but it's not because he's a bad boy.
No, she's like, oh no, because for most of the movie, she's like, wow, you're kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
Please stop talking to me.
Please stop. So then Chaaaz pulls out this little controller.
It is just an RC car controller.
Literally, it's
It's got two things he's playing with.
Yeah.
For all of the things that you're about to hear he does with it, he's got two control sticks, and that's all he's
A
using.
couple of buttons on there.
But he's not
It
using
might be
them.
like a trigger button or something. Yeah, there's like up and down and side to side. All of a sudden, he starts controlling the skeleton that's behind the teacher. And he makes the skeleton like touch him on the shoulder. And then the skeleton starts like wagging its little butt.
Yeah, it starts off as like vaguely understandable, like RC motions.
Yeah, like very robotic.
And then halfway through, it just transforms into a CGI skeleton, just like
Dance party.
just getting down real crazy.
Yeah,
And
this definitely happened. And also the eyes light up.
And the teacher's just thinking he's making incredible jokes, but everyone's just laughing at the skeleton.
At the
Yeah.
skeleton, it's dancing. And then the teacher finally catches Chaaaz with the controller. And he's like, wow, I wish you'd use your powers for good, not evil. And Chaa's like, what? And he's like, well, obviously, it takes a lot of thought and, like, brains to rig the skeleton to, like, wiggle its butt and shit. So I think you, Chaaaz, might be a secret genius. And you know, there are geniuses your age. In fact, there's a kid at the college who's like super smart, and Chaaaz like
He looks just like you.
Chaaaz like going, oh fuck, oh, shit. Well, actually, it was some geek kid in science club that helped me rig it. Haha, it wasn't me. Uh-huh. And then Claire asked Chaaaz after class. She's like, "Oh, who helped you do that?" And he's like, "I don't know, this fucking geek kid. I don't fucking know."
Claire's thirsting over the robotic skin.
Yeah.
I think she wants to know, and she's like,
I kind of want to smooch whoever made the robot shake its butt.
"He's like, fuck,
God damn it.
God damn it." And she's like, "Well, I'm sure he has something you don't, a future or something like that."
Future doesn't say, "Do you want fries with that?"
Yeah, so she's like, "You're gonna just end up as a fast food worker. So fuck you."
Yeah, fuck you, Chaaaz
Chaaaz
Anthony.
Anthony. So next day, or maybe I don't know. Cut to Charlie teaching in his lab. Teaching his lab. He's teaching again. Mike draws a little guy. Okay, so Charlie's like, "Who wants to help me?" And Mike comes up and he draws like
Charlie's
Oh,
like,
God.
knows something's gonna happen.
Offensive. It's just like
No,
a cute little guy.
It's literally
it's
just
like
Bart
Charlie.
Simpson.
It's supposed to be Charlie, but it's just like a kid with glasses.
Yeah.
And everyone laughs, and Charlie gets so fucking offended.
Just absolutely livid over this like adorable little friend that Mike drew.
Like, if you drew this with love, you would find it as a compliment.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh look, I drew you."
Oh,
Oh, that's very cute,
that's
Mike. But
very
let's do
cute.
the
Please
science
do
now.
science.
But he goes like, "You know what? I used to think you were cool, but now you're a fucking jerk." And he like storms out. Like that was the worst thing that could have happened to
It's so much
him.
funny because like the other stuff we see in the classroom are just all worse.
Well,
Mike-
like the fucking spitball
Mike
was like
threatened to kill this kid the first time he met him.
This is like
the little drawing is like, oh, that's crossing
That's
the
crossing
line.
the line.
And Charlie calls his dad. This is the last time we see the dad, by the way.
I think he's in the final scene.
I don't think so.
I think he's in the crowd.
No, he's not.
No?
I don't think
He
so.
doesn't care about Dom.
If he is, it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
No. So he calls his dad, and his dad's like, "How are things going?" And Charlie's like, "Well, like school's fine, but like I'm having girl problems or whatever." And his dad like mentioned something about a tutor,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh my god, that's it, a tutor." So he gets an
Calls his
idea.
dad a genius, and dad goes, "Oh,
Oh, I'm a
guess it
genius.
does run in the family."
Oh, I'm a genius. What is this? Some kind of genius?
What a great cold open that was.
Shut up. All right, so cut to Doc. Charlie runs in all excited. They're in the lab, and he's like, "Guess what? Guess what? I got something so cool." And he's like, "I got my first F."
Let me hang it on a fridge.
Yeah, and Doc's like, "You're excited to have an F?" And he's like, ha, "Yeah, I gotta go." So that's literally like the whole scene. And then they're at the lunch at the junior high, and Chaz is like eating lunch at school, and he goes to talk to Claire, and he's like, "Hey, Claire, I'm failing my class. I guess I need a tutor. Will you tutor me?" And Claire's like, No.
Just leave.
I don't
Please
like
leave.
you.
Like, can't you
don't
find someone else?
Want anything to do with you? Please stop talking to me.
Literally, she's like, "I do not want to tutor you," and he's like, "Oh, well, there's no one else that's gonna tutor me, so I guess you have to do it." And she's like, "Well, okay, only like after school is when I'm available." And he's like, "All right, deal, let's do it." Guess he has time for this now. Um, so they have this like montage of
Oh my.
I feel like you have some thoughts on the montage here.
The montage just like it starts off as just like, oh, they're doing weird tutoring.
yeah, they're like in a
And
computer
then
lab.
It all starts just going off the rails the second they're at the park, and like they're doing like some kind of science thing, and Claire like gives him a magnifying glass to look at stuff, and then he just starts like playing with the magnifying glass and then starts
Being
like
silly.
running around the bench looking at stuff, and she finds this shit hysterical. She is losing her absolute mind.
This is where her opinion of Chaaaz Aaanthony flips.
She's like, "Oh man, you're kind of an asshole, but yo, you running around with a magnifying glass, my opinion has changed." And then this, literally the next part of the montage, he's like sniffing her hair and just
Does
being like
sniff her hair.
really uncomfortable.
She's like looking down at the book, and he goes, just the biggest sniff you see, and then she like looks at him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm looking."
Yeah, I'm reading.
Not sniffing your
I'm
hair.
reading.
It's whatever. Okay, so they end up at Claire's house, and Chaz gives her the new Backstreet Boys CD, and he's like, "This is what we listen to, right? This is
Oh, what a
good."
cool kid.
And she's like, "Yeah, this is great." Like he's
Yeah,
like, "I just want to say
this is
thank you."
genuinely cool, thank you.
Yeah, and he's like, "I just want to say thank
Backstreet's
you."
back, all right.
Bam, 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 bam.
Actually, I think that's probably not that album. I don't know my Backstreet Boys lore enough.
I don't know what came out in '99.
Probably I Want It That Way.
Nice.
I don't know though.
So then Claire mentions that her dad is the hockey coach at Northern. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, hey, do you want to meet him? Hey, dad." Like, immediately starts calling. As soon as, like, all this happens as Charlie, like, sees the photo of the coach. And she goes, "Yeah, you want to meet him?" Definitely happens so fast. And he's going, "Oh, shit."
That's some fast thinking.
Yeah, so there's like a golden hockey mask. He puts it over his face so the dad doesn't recognize him, and he just kind of like runs around. He's like, "Oh, okay, I gotta go. Bye. Jason for another team." Bye."
Funny.
What a
Funny,
funny
what a
Chaaaz
funny-
Anthony joke.
And Claire's just like,
What?
"What?"
What the fuck
And
is
the
wrong
dad,
with him?
the dad's like, "Okay, bye."
I
Like,
let this kid sniff my hair?
she's like pretty freaked out, which understandable. That he's fucking weird. Anyway, so back at the lab, the Doc and Charlie, they're talking about like what just happened at the house. And Doc's like, "The only girlfriend I've ever had was a robot." This is the part where he's like, "I definitely didn't fuck
I
a
totally
robot."
did fuck this robot.
Her name was Cheryl.
Oh, was it Cheryl?
It
I
was
think
Cheryl.
It was Cheryl.
I wrote down Cheryl.
Oh god. Yeah, no. It says right here in the notes, Krickstein fucked a robot named Cheryl.
He didn't not fuck her.
Charlie says, like, "Please tell me you're joking." He just kind of goes like, "Meh."
I might be.
Maybe.
He's like, I might be joking. And he just has this like wistful look in his eyes.
He definitely fucked this
He
robot.
fucked the hell out of this robot.
But you know what? If you can make a robot and get pleasure out of fucking
You know
it, who are we to judge?
Crickstein, he's the guy who married Hatsune Miku, and I couldn't be happier for it.
He deserves happiness.
So then they're like doing science, and Charlie's like, you know what? We should do the thing where we like don't do science for a bit and like distract ourselves and like come back
Yeah.
to it later, which does help.
The
Yeah.
Eureka thing.
The
Like, what they're
Eureka.
talking about there is not a legitimate thing.
Yeah, and then he's like, let's dance.
Yeah.
And he's
It's
like
like,
dancing like
no.
he's dancing like a
Stop.
dweeb.
Yeah.
So then the alarm starts going off.
Because they do be dancing.
Because they do be dancing
do
with
be
some
dancing.
music. Apparently, the music was playing. I thought the
Yeah.
music was theoretical because I did not see them hit a boombox or anything. But
They're dancing out loud.
I think he like
I think it says something
he
about
might
the
he
music.
said something about the music. I think he might have like hit something on his computer.
yeah, probably. And then the alarm starts going off, and they're like, "Oh my god, the science is working!" But he's like, "I don't get it. We're just doing the same experiment we've always done," which is against what he said before. He's like, "You should not do the same experiment you do before." But they were doing the same experiment. He's like, "Nothing changed," and Charlie's like, "The music changed. It's like something about the fucking sound waves, and they like solve gravity."
And yeah, that's the best part of this scene to me is like Charlie and like Crickstein, they just like revolutionized a certain part of like science, and then Charlie's like, "Oh man, this is great. I gotta go to middle school now."
He really does just do
He's
that.
like, "Oh man, this is really cool and all, but I'm late to fucking social studies. See ya."
I think Richard even goes like, "Well, like, you know what this means? The Nobel Prize." And he goes, "I gotta go. I'm late for middle school
The
science."
job's over.
They literally say to like, "We unlocked the mysteries of the universe." Apparently, this is the mystery of the universe.
I mean, to be fair, defying gravity, I will agree with what you guys were saying
it's
earlier.
not a fucking mystery.
No, but
How to
being
defy
able-
How to defy it.
Yeah.
That's a mystery, I guess. It's pretty cool, but yeah. So back at school, Chaaaz gets a C, and he's like, "Guess your tutoring really works, Claire.
Maybe I am a genius.
Maybe I am a genius." And the teacher, it's the same teacher that had the skeleton incident.
That's the only teacher we really
Yeah.
ever see.
Yeah, well, yeah, there was the first teacher, but we don't ever
She's
see
not
her
real.
again.
No, we only have this teacher. And
Yeah.
one thing I want to mention is that while he's passing out like the tests,
He wakes the girl up.
oh, was she sleeping? I didn't know she was sleeping. I just thought like he gave her test and then like slapped the back of her head for no reason. It's like
Fuck
you
off.
did bad. Do better.
She was sleeping, so he like taps her on the back of the head, and she was like, "Oh," and she like wakes up. But that's
Oh,
so
God.
funny. It's like, "Fuck off, kid." Um.
It's a good moment.
So then the teacher's like, yeah, speaking of geniuses, we're literally gonna go on a field trip right now."
No permission slips.
No permission.
No
I'm
permission
so
slips.
mad about this.
No
I'm so mad about it.
warning. No anything.
He says, "I called the dean like an hour ago, and I scheduled this field trip to go meet Charlie Boyle, the genius kid at the school."
Let's just give a impromptu presentation, 13-year-old. You can do it.
Oh yeah, and he's like, "The skeleton thing inspired me to go meet a kid who's not afraid to be a genius, Charlie Boyle, who we all know is actually Chaaaz Aaanthony."
We know he's afraid to be a genius.
He is rather afraid of geniality.
Like, they need fucking permission slips. They can't just leave. How are they getting there? Like, it's probably pretty close by. Are they walking? Did they schedule a school bus to take them there? Like, you can't just call an hour. Did they get permission from the school? Like, the principal? What the
Maybe
fuck?
it is a walkover, and maybe because it's a walkover, it's fine.
This is
Yeah.
stupid.
Because like schools will take you on walks in like gym class.
Yeah, actually, we bust down to the.
I took walks in.
Oh yeah, we just would walk down to the pond like every month.
I have a
outside.
fun story. We used to bus right down the road. It was like literally a 2-minute drive down to the bowling alley. Like for a week straight, we did bowling in my gym class, and it was right before lunch. And one day the bus wasn't there to pick us up again, and lunch was about to happen. So my teacher goes like, all right, y'all can run for it if you want. So we all start running towards the school, and it is winter. It's like dead of fucking winter. We all start running because we don't want to miss lunch. One kid ends up in a fucking snowbank, and he's like, keep going. It's really funny. It wasn't that far, but it was. We all just ran for our lunch because the bus
It's
wasn't
lunch.
there.
You gotta get
Yeah.
lunch.
Yeah.
It was really funny. A lot of us didn't have jackets. I don't think I did because we're like, we're just going to the
on a
fucking
bus,
bowling alley. Yeah. So I don't know. It was a funny story though. Anyway, Chad starts freaking out because obviously they're going to go see Charlie Boyle. He doesn't want his cover to be blown. So he like runs out of class, and the teacher like doesn't notice, I guess. He literally leaves. This made me fucking permission slips because Chaz isn't there when they go to the college, and later he shows up, and the professor's like, "Oh, thank God you're here now."
Thank God you
Like,
showed up. Kid I'm accountable for.
Yeah, he lost this child that he's
To be fair,
responsible
Chaaaz
for.
Anthony has no parents.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, like, who's gonna complain?
Yeah. Anyway, so okay, before that happens, Charlie gets back to the lab, and he's like freaking out. He needs Kirkstein, whatever his name is, he needs his help. And there's a moment where he goes, "Careful, Charlie. If you get those chemicals on you, you'll turn purple." And he's like, "Doc, I need your help. The class is coming to meet me." And he's like, "Oh, this is why the dean was trying to find you all morning." All morning? Apparently, this was only an hour ago.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is why the dean, after not being able to identify him, still says, "Show up and give it."
Show up.
What if, like,
I own
this
that
teacher
fucking kid.
did this for a different class? And then, like...
He fucking owns Charlie. He's like, "Charlie, do whatever I fucking say." Because I'm giving him free school, I guess.
Free school where he doesn't take any classes.
Yeah.
He only takes middle school classes.
But then Charlie's like, "Oh, wait, you said purple, right?" I don't know. He comes up with a plan. So then, okay, so we're in this like auditorium that's, I guess, at the college.
Really?
Makes sense. And the professor, the doc, he's introducing Charlie Boyle, but he's like, but first, before he comes out, he had a just horrifying lab accident. So he's now temporarily disfigured. Here's Charlie, and then Charlie, like, wheelchairs himself in, and he's all purple.
Got a broken leg.
Oh, it was so funny.
That's
It's
like-
like he had this horrifying fucking accident.
He's studying gravity.
Did he fall?
He fell into the purple.
Like wheels himself in, like, ugh. And he's like, "Since I'm in obvious discomfort, I will be excusing myself.
Terrible pain.
He's using this giant
He's
raspy
awful,
voice.
Like
I
crab
will
voice.
take my leave." And let my professor talk him out like electrons or whatever.
The professor's doc's like doesn't know what the shit to talk
He's
about.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, guess I'll
Okay.
talk about shit." And then he calls him off. He's like, come here, off stage. And he's like, "Oh, okay, 1 second." And he's like, "How do I get this stuff off?" And he's like, "Use soap and water."
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Like, Charlie's sometimes a dumbass, and I love that about him.
He
Just use some
doesn't.
fucking
He doesn't
soap.
have social
Bathroom.
intelligence at all. Zero street smarts.
Well,
Yeah.
He mid
he
max.
doesn't have bathroom intelligence.
Mid max.
So then, in the kids are in the audience, and Odie goes, "I gotta go pay the water bill," which means he's gotta go take a whiz. And he finds Chaz in the bathroom, which luckily he had like just gotten most of the purple off of him. And he's like, "Chaz, you're in the bathroom?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm in the bathroom."
Crazy how that happened.
Crazy, yeah, I've been here the whole time. I got to the school myself somehow. And so then they go to the audience, and the teacher's like, "Oh, thank God you're here, because I really wanted you to meet Charlie." He lost a whole fucking kid. And he's like, "Oh, phew."
Well, to be fair, this guy ditches class all the goddamn
He
time.
does ditch
Yeah.
class all the time, and like, they just not care.
Chaaaz Aaanthony is just like this fake creature of middle school who only shows up whenever he feels like it. They know there's no controlling him.
They know that.
He's failing.
They know that there's no parents behind it, so who cares?
Yeah, can you just enroll without having like a meeting with the parents? Probably.
He's Chaaaz Aaanthony. He can do anything.
He can do anything he wants. He's
No
Chaaaz
doubt.
Anthony.
Chaaaz
Chaaaz
Anthony.
Aaanthony. can do anything he puts his mind to.
Okay, so then the teacher stands up and he's like, can we reschedule since we didn't really get to talk to Charlie? And then he's like, no, we can't reschedule. I'm sure I can get Charlie to come back out. And Chaaaz is like, fuck, I gotta go. So he like goes back out and he starts putting the purple shit and he like calls the doc. I was like, why'd you say I go back out there? And the doc has a good point. He's like, don't fucking reschedule you. Let's just like get it over with so we don't have to do this ever again. He's like,
really annoying.
Mm-hmm.
So then Charlie goes, all right, fine. Give me a push. So he's in the wheelchair and the doc pushes him apparently with like a huge amount of force. He goes all the way to the other side of the stage and crashes.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Pretty funny. Just imagine if this was a real, like, disfigured, chemically burned kid.
That just lies out in a wheelchair and just yeets himself to the other end.
So, and like the whole class starts laughing. It's not funny. And I'm like, you're the only one with like a good head on her shoulders. That's like, it's like horribly disfigured.
And that's the one person that they don't want the most to see.
But then Charlie like escapes before Claire sees
like,
his face.
I'm healed.
Oh, and he like runs away.
I don't get why Charlie didn't just pretend like they were two people that looked the same. I feel like that's way more likely.
Maybe, yeah, put on like.
Just say he's a doppelganger.
So he has glasses. Maybe he can like put on a hat and like, I don't know. He's up on stage, so it's
Have
not
a
like they're gonna
fake beard.
see him. Like, okay, he's gonna look kind of like Chaaaz. So maybe they're like, oh, it kind of looks like Chaaaz. Like, but like, what proof do they have that Chaaaz isn't there? I've never seen them in the same room.
Chaaaz is like never there anyway.
Yeah, he's never there anyway, so whatever. All right, so back at the dorm, Mike moved his stuff back in the dorm. I don't know why Mike really had a change of heart. He does say, like, I need your help because I'm failing my class.
Failing classes.
He's desperate.
Now Mike is nice.
From here on out, Mike is cool.
Yeah. And
The last thing we saw of him was him getting yelled at because he drew a picture.
He did drop it.
that really, like,
That
opened
changed
his
him.
eyes
Yeah.
because Charlie called him a jerk, and he's like, you're right.
He's like, you know what? This, out of all the things I've done to you, Charlie, that one really was the one that went too far. I am so sorry.
I'm so sorry he drew that really nice picture of you on the chalkboard.
I'll keep it to death threats from here on out.
Only death threats and head-sized spitballs for the rest of time.
Spitballs that could kill you.
So he's like, Charlie, I need your help. And Charlie's like, you need my help? You've got looks, charm, confidence, women, poise, women. And Mike's like, but you have a future. He's like, yeah, and if I have all that stuff, but like, I'm dumb, so I'm going to get kicked off the hockey team. I'm going to lose my scholarship, and I'll end up with a job operating a forklift at a cheese factory.
Which,
That's
I'm pretty
because
sure that's pretty lucrative.
No, yeah.
He's
Like,
in
forklift operators
Wisconsin.
make a lot of money, actually.
and it's cheese because
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
It is cheap.
Haha.
Love me some cheese. Cheese, top tier food. Possibly top food.
You do love cheese. Cheese is real good.
It's pretty nice.
So then Mike's like, Charlie, will you tutor me? And Charlie's like, yeah, will you give me girl advice? And he's like, yeah. And Mike's like, you know what you need to do? Like, throw everything you learned out of the window. Like, shut the fuck up and listen. Research isn't going to help you with girls. You just got to do what's natural.
And he starts going to write these down.
Yeah, and he's like, stop. Just like, don't think about it. And then they shake hands and they're like friends now. So, hooray. They're friends. All right. So, cut to the outdoor skate rink. Now they're like outdoors playing hockey. Chaaaz is like finally he's playing hockey with the boys, He's finally included in the team. But then he sees this other loser kid on the bench waiting to get in, and he goes, I'm tired, like I'm winded. You go in for me. So he like
first selfless action Chaaaz Aaanthony has ever
First
done.
good thing
for sure.
Chaaaz has done.
which is
One of the first Charlies.
Yeah.
it's not every DCOM where a kid sees himself in another kid and like actually helps him out.
And it's also before the end of the movie, so
Yeah,
like
it's not like
credits where credits due.
usually that would be the climax of a DCOM where it's like I'm gonna pay it forward. I've learned what it's like on both sides, whatever. No, this is just like kind of a one-off thing that's actually really nice to see. That's like Charlie's not gonna become the asshole bully.
No.
Actually, he's like he sees other kids and he's like, hey, you go. I know what it's like to be in your shoes. You go play for me. And Claire is there on the bench and she sees this happening, and so she is impressed with Chaaaz. I do like though that Claire doesn't say anything in the moment.
No.
She just kind of smiles because that would have ruined it if she was like, "Oh, that was so nice of you, Chaaaz." She just kind of smiles at him.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a good
Their relationship, despite the hair smelling and magnifying glass happening, is actually somewhat believable.
Yeah, I think so.
I think
Fine.
you just go in with the assumption that she kind of has a crush on him and he kind of has a crush on her,
Oh, he has a big crush on her.
and like
Yeah, no.
that makes all of their interactions actually feel somewhat genuine.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
So then Claire invites Chaaaz to catch a ride with her and her dad, which pretty generous. I don't like, hey, you want to ride with me to the game? We'll pick you up, like, to the hockey game, the big championship hockey game. And he's like, no, I can't go to the game. I have to watch my sister. And she goes, I thought you were an only child. And he goes, I am. It's Sister Mary Catherine. She's a nun and an invalid.
Oh god, and then I don't remember whether this was before or after, but like when she does like eventually go, I noticed what you did back there for that kid. It was really cool. Then Chaz starts like talking to himself like through like his plan to like get an arm around her shoulder.
And that's right after this because the other kids leave, like Odie or whatever,
Yeah.
and he goes like, all right, later, yo, and he like does a
Later.
hand signal. He's like, yo, later. Also, what is an invalid?
I think it's just like the person with like a disability. It's just like a weird old general term.
Yeah. All right. So then this is the part. So Claire goes like, "Isn't it beautiful? I love the snow." And he's like, "Yeah, it's all right. Here the snow is white, but it gets real dirty in the mean streets of Chicago." And then she's like, "You're not so tough." And he goes like, "You talking to me?" But whatever. Then she says like, "I know how you helped that boy. Like you weren't tired. You were just being nice." And he goes, "Yeah." And then he like turns away and she gets up. And
He's talking to himself for like 20 seconds.
She would definitely be able to hear if she was still there.
Yeah.
And where he's just like, ooh, just a little wonder. It's just the mystery will sell her on it. Everyone's going to be real interested. And then he just falls flat on his fucking back.
Yeah, now he's like, go in for the kill or whatever.
God.
Like, you really thought that was going to work?
How is he this
God,
man?
she left. Otherwise,
Yeah.
she would have, like, really left. She would have been so freaked out. I would be freaked out.
Yeah, but instead she's just skating on the ice so it's like, hey, come join me.
Yeah.
Let's
And
skate.
then she tells this beautiful story about her mom.
When she's talking about her mom, it's just funny how her voice completely changes. How she just goes from being like a very normal person, it's like, it was really, I noticed what you did. You're not so tough. Then when she's talking about her mom, she just becomes like,
She's like enchanted.
yeah, she's like, oh, and then the heavens opened up. My mother transformed into a stunning ballerina in a snow globe.
Wrote that line down too. Yeah, because she talks about, she's like, yeah, my dad likes hockey, but my mom, she's so beautiful. She's a figure skater.
The gates of heaven opened.
It's like she's saying her mom was actually like a pretty mediocre figure skater.
Which also funny to just say that.
But then it's like, no, the heaven, then it was beautiful, and that's when I decided I wanted to be a figure skater. And then
she says it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and Charlie goes,
"You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen."
Oh man, you're talking about your mom. Better make my move.
And it's going to work.
In for the kiss, and the only thing that stops him is a little girl throws a snowball at him. Like, you about to kiss that girl? Nope.
And like, no, she was going in for it too.
She was gonna kiss back. Yeah.
He's like, oh man,
You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
What's his end game in this?
To kiss her.
But like, At what point does he reveal that? Oh, I've been
Never.
lying about being
He's
Chaaaz
never.
Aaanthony.
He's
Never.
14. Follow through is in his strong suit.
Yeah.
He's not thinking this
He
through.
just wants
He doesn't have a
friends.
long-term plan.
Nope.
Fair
All right.
enough.
So back at the lab, he's like, I'm gonna go to Milwaukee for a few days. And Charlie's like, yeah, I'm not gonna go to the game because of my double life. So I'm
Pretty good idea.
yeah. So he's like, I'm not gonna go. I'm just gonna, use the particle accelerator and do some work while you're gone. And he's like, all right, be careful. It's the only one we have. Nothing's gonna go wrong with that. And then Mike shows up at the lab.
We should mention this is the big game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Big.
This
this
big
is
game day.
the Rumson Raiders versus the Northern Lights.
Mhm. Yep, it's for the championship.
Everyone marks this on their calendar. Start of the year.
Mhm.
They know this is a big
I
fucking
wonder
deal.
if they're the only two in the conference, so it's just a random championship game. So Mike shows up and he's like, "Hey Charlie, thanks for helping me pass my class." And he gives him like a hockey jersey that has Boyle on it. So
It's
I thought
pretty
it
cute.
was really
Cute.
cute, and it has his number on it too. His number 7.
And the captain, yeah, like
Yeah.
he's saying, "Hey, let's go."
Thanks.
I'm you now.
I'm you. Okay, so then they're talking about the Rumson rack, which is the move where you injure the best player on the team.
We okay. Just to be explicitly clear, if you skipped ahead on the podcast or we didn't explain it well beforehand, we should explain exactly what the Rumson rack is because it's important.
Yeah, so
Right.
there's 3 players involved in
3
the
players
Rumson rack.
involved.
The first and most important step is to assault the ref.
Yeah.
You skate into the back of the referee, make it look like an accident, and then like dance with him trying to get him up while like continuously falling down
Yep.
to make it so he can't see shit.
And then the other 2 players.
We should note there's no other ref on the ice.
No, there's
No.
only one.
There's one ref on the ice, and this has been done presumably at pretty much every game this team has played
Yeah.
in front of a crowd of people.
Yeah. Everybody knows that
It
it
just
happens.
keeps working.
Yeah.
For some
The refs
reason.
just don't catch it.
The ref doesn't
anytime.
catch
The
wind of
refs
it.
don't like go, oh, I got knocked over. Man,
No.
I wonder if they're gonna do the thing that I got warned about.
So then the other 2 players go and just fucking deck the star
One
player.
goes high, one goes low.
Yeah.
And they just try to break his back.
They like fucking break his bones so that he's out of the game, and then they can win because they don't. The other team doesn't have their star player anymore.
Yeah. I'll
That's the
point this
plan.
out later on, but their execution of this strategy is extremely dumb.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
stupid. Because at first, like, we don't see it in action at this point. They just say like one guy distracts the ref.
Yeah.
So like, okay, maybe they do something. No, they just fucking like shove over the ref.
Yeah, it's not even like a super like, oh no, what an accident. Like he just full speed barrels into the ref.
It's so stupid. So Mike and Charlie are talking about it, and Mike's kind of like, well, there's nothing I can really do about it. I just gotta hope for the best and do my best to avoid them.
Yeah.
And Charlie's like, you know what? I think there might be a better way. And so we know Charlie has a plan. Also, I just can't believe that they fully admit that this team cheats and nobody does anything about it. It's so stupid. Anyway,
Cheating is cool in the Genius.
cheating
universe.
is cool.
Everyone likes cheating.
There is not a single cheater in this movie who isn't like vindicated in some form.
Is Rumson vindicated?
Yeah, it got them into the fucking championship.
Fair enough.
Yeah, okay, so now it's like game day. The game's about to start. We see like Odie and Dion, is that his name? And a bunch of fans are booing. And
Yeah.
it was like Odie, whoever, goes like, oh, I guess it's a lot of like Northern Lights fans. And they go, oh no, that's the Rumson fans. They just, they only responded negative reinforcement. They're all from broken homes. This is the line where we get the lore
they're
of Rumson.
exclusively recruited. Like the Rumson team, just as a collective, is a hilariously
They're
tropey
great.
bad guys.
Fans boo you so that
Just
you do better.
comically terrible people.
So fucking funny. Okay, so Charlie's plan. We see the team Northern Lights. They're like in the back locker room, whatever. They're doing their game plan, and the plan is that since they always hit the best player, we'll put Mike's jersey on the equipment manager,
So they just
so that
hurt the equipment manager instead,
and
they
if
don't
they do
lose
it
an
to another
important
player, then a player gets hurt no matter what. But if they do it on the equipment manager,
No one cares about
no one
him.
fucking cares about him, and he's like, what? No.
I don't.
He doesn't want this.
No, he doesn't fucking Yeah,
And their
it's
response to
broken.
cheating is just like, okay,
Let's
let them cheat on a person we don't care about.
Mhm.
Um, and Mike like takes credit for it.
Of course.
He's like, "This is my idea." And then Charlie's like right outside, and he goes like, "Thanks, Charlie." I'm like, why don't you give him credit?
They just don't want to be
Whatever.
seen as associating with Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh, and he goes like, he sees Charlie's like, "Thanks, Charlie. I owe you one." And Charlie goes, "We're even." On what fucking planet are they even? What has Mike done for Charlie?
Wanna know what he's done?
Yeah.
He's completely is giving him credit. Charlie's giving him credit for getting Claire.
That is just not what happened. Charlie has given the sun and the moon to fucking Mike. And
Yeah, but Charlie got a cool jersey out of it. So
That's
who's the
true.
real winner?
Jersey's-
you know what?
Jersey's
The
pretty
jersey's
sick.
pretty
Yeah.
baller, so we're even.
Mhm.
All right. So then Charlie goes back down to the lab by himself and he's sad that he's missing the game. And then we see the dean talking to the coach and he's like, so if we win this game, we win like a cup, right? And the coach is like, yep. And he's like,
I want that shiny cup.
I really want that cup.
If you don't
Coach.
give me that cup, you're out of a job.
You're fired. Haha.
I'm gonna go count my money and call my evil henchman on the phone.
And also Claire gets to like sit on the bench by the players, which is pretty fun because her dad's the coach. So perks of your dad being the coach at a college, you get to just like hang out with the players. So I don't know, I thought that was cool. All right, so Charlie is doing some science in the lab, but he can hear the game going on because it's right below the hockey rink. And he's like, "Oh, I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna go for 5 minutes. No one will recognize me for 5 minutes."
Immediately after he leaves, the particle accelerator starts beeping.
At the speed he's walking, I don't
He
think
has to hear it.
he wouldn't have been out of the room when it starts beeping.
No, he
Beep,
had to have
beep.
heard it.
There's so much hockey noise going on.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And so Odie like immediately sees him and he goes, "Chaaaz, oh my god, I thought you couldn't make it. What happened to Sister Mary?" And Chaaaz like, she got up and walked. It was
It's
a miracle.
They're thinking of canonizing her,
What does that mean?
putting
It's
her,
like making you into a saint.
Yeah,
putting
so
her
that was
into the
funny.
canon.
Yeah.
And then of course Claire sees him up there in the stands and she's waving and he like tries to grab a newspaper from a guy who's reading a newspaper in the middle of a hockey
Yeah.
game. Good for him.
Maybe
and-
checking out like the roster of the players.
maybe.
My mom's done that at football games. She brings in the full newspaper
I like
for
to think-
Sunday.
I like to think he showed up at the game to not pay attention at all.
Oh yeah, no, he's like the dad of one of the players who just kind of really hates hockey, but he still wants to show his support.
One of the players looks up to wave at his dad and his dad's not
And
looking.
his dad's like, "Oh,
Really?
Pigpen, you rapscallion."
Oh,
So Claire like really wants her dad to meet Chaaaz. She's like, "Dad, look, it's Chaaaz. He's up there." Like, why does she want them to meet
because she's
them
got
now?
a crush on him.
She does have a crush on him.
She may have even
Um,
told her dad that she has a crush on
Yeah.
him.
But Chaaaz leaves, and like also the dad's focused on the game because he's the fucking coach.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
"My job is on the line, sweetie. I know this is important to you,
But, like,
I
I
need
support
this.
Looks like
you
John.
financially.
I literally need this win."
Your mom makes no money figure skating. She sucks, actually.
She's
Yeah.
mediocre as
I-
hell.
she's not mentioned outside of figure skating. For all we know, she is like, she might be dead. We don't know. It's a
We
DCOM
don't
parent.
know.
We don't know.
She's probably dead.
She's at least absent
yeah.
through the movie.
Yeah. All right. So now it's third period. They're cutting through these periods so
Mhm.
fast.
Also, this is what I wanted to point out. It's the third period. If you don't know hockey, there are 3 total periods.
Yeah.
They have not done the Rumson rack yet, insinuating that the equipment manager has been out there pretending to be the star player the whole time.
They're essentially playing a man down this whole
Yeah.
fucking game, just waiting for the Rumson rack to happen. Also, apparently the plan is to injure the star player with like 30 seconds left of the fucking
It's
clock.
So
There's like 2 minutes left.
I think there may have been like even a little more than that, and like they cut through time later after.
Yeah.
And like I know it's like the Rumson kids are sort of played up as like, oh, the big stupid evil ones. You'd think after playing a whole match you'd realize, man, this guy who's supposed to be their star player kind of sucks this match, huh?
He's just standing there. huh?
Should we change our opinion on who to play against to the one that's in
Yeah.
the other number?
Which one of these people should we just ruin?
Yeah. Also, the score is 0-0, but that's hockey for you, I guess. It's a third period 0-0.
Yeah. You
Um.
like soccer, babe. There's more scoring in hockey.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's time for the Rumson rack. The player is distracting the ref literally by tackling him. And then they take out the decoy, who's the equipment manager. And then real Mike goes and they're like, whoa, what the fuck?
He
Who's
scores.
that? And then he scores and they're up 1-0. Um so good for that, but there's like 2 minutes left. Then the dean sees Charlie, because Charlie's trying to like hide from everybody. The dean sees him and he's like, Charlie, my boy, come here. Let me show you to the cameras and everyone.
Here's a good experiment, boy.
Charlie goes, I need to actually go finish my experiment. And he's
He
like,
realizes,
experiment. I'll make it a big experiment.
Making a big experiment is better for press.
Yeah, haha. So then, like, they walk in and Claire sees Chaaaz because they're literally, or Charlie, they're literally on the bench by the players. The dean's like, let's go sit on the bench.
he wants to go celebrate with victory. This is kind of like, you guys remember, I know you're not football fans, but you remember when the Atlanta Falcons choked the giant lead to the Patriots in the Super Bowl?
No.
Vague.
The Falcons were up 28-3 and less than a quarter and like a couple minutes
I remember
left.
that actually, yeah.
So the owner for the Falcons goes down on the field to go like get ready to celebrate with the team, and the Patriots come all the way back to win the game, and the owner's just awkwardly there at the end.
No, I feel foolish.
And I feel like that's kind of what he's setting himself up for.
Yeah,
the team
he is.
here.
So they're on the bench, and Claire sees that he's on the bench, and she goes to her dad. She's like, he weaseled his way on the bench somehow because he's a bad boy. He's Chaaaz Aaanthony.
Oh, that's our Chaaaz.
That's
Classic
my Chaaaz. So she goes up. The coach, her dad goes, what, you mean Charlie Boyle?
Yeah, that's just Charlie.
That's Charlie.
That's Charlie, sweetie. Yeah, he goes here.
He's the kid here. And she's like, what do you mean? That's Chaaaz. He was actually at our house. And he put on your mask, and oh fuck, now I know why.
She put it together faster than
Together
I
really
would.
quick. She goes, shit, he's pretending to be Chaaaz.
Yeah.
So she goes up and she's like, so who's Charlie Boyle? What was the point of this? Were you like studying me, like some kind of weird fucking culture experiment? Like,
Just
what
wanna
the
make
fuck's
us
wrong
feel
with you?
dumb.
Yeah, what the fuck's wrong with you? You making me feel like an idiot, like you're making fun of me because I'm tutoring you, haha, like I'm tutoring a genius.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do this? And he goes, because I'm a big fat liar.
Great confession.
And then he goes, and I forgot about the particle accelerator. And he starts going, get off the ice, get off the ice.
Something must trigger, like, I don't remember if there was a moment where like he knew that shit was really,
I think like
really gonna go
alarms
down.
or like explosions start happening or something.
Yeah.
The ice rink starts fucking splitting. Like there's
Earthquakes.
huge cracks in the ice.
Like hell is coming up from underneath the ice. It's just like red glow coming from every crack.
I feel like they fix it pretty.
Well, yeah, you know what they do? They use what we saw in the beginning of the movie,
Yeah,
just
they
off camera.
Charlie's dad off.
He just drops the automatic Zamboni.
Zamboni to go over the huge
Yeah.
like molten lava cracks in the ice. Okay, so the ice rink can't be used anymore. The ref goes, well, let's delay the game. There's literally 2 minutes left.
That's
and they're
not only delay game. We're postponing it, and we're gonna restart with a
Redo it.
full game.
yeah,
Yeah.
0-0
This is the most
restart.
unfair.
Yeah.
It's so unfair for Northern Lights because the game's like pretty much over.
Yeah.
They have to
It's a minute
hold
and a
off
half
2
left.
minutes when they haven't given up a goal in
Yeah.
theoretically 58.
So the
Yeah.
coach is not happy. He's like, I'm going to lose my fucking job now.
Yeah.
Like, we were literally about to win, and now I'm going to lose my job. Way to fucking go, Charlie. And, like, Claire's unhappy. Everyone's unhappy. Chaaaz no longer has his girlfriend or friends. So, it's sad. So
Yeah.
then we have this, like, another...
I want to point out real quickly. The dean goes to, like, the coach, and it's just kind of like, oh, you didn't win it. You're going to lose your job.
Yeah, he's
you
like,
better win it when it's postponed.
better start filling out those applications, Bobby boy.
When he literally was 2 minutes away from winning, and the dean is the reason that Charlie couldn't go and turn off the machine and cause the loss.
Dean would never take blame for that.
Oh.
No, but Charlie could have blamed it on him and solved a
Yeah.
lot of issues.
Charlie shouldn't have left it
I
unattended.
think
No.
the solution here is like just buy a bowl like spray paint it gold and put some handles on it and give it to the dean and say it's a hockey trophy.
That they
And he'll
won.
be like, "Oh, I'll put this in my office," and then he won't care.
All right. So then we have another like montage of Charlie like calling Claire and she hangs up and he keeps trying to call her and she keeps hanging up. This happens like 4 times of her not answering the phone. So then Charlie makes an announcement over the intercom at the junior high.
What?
He made like a contraption.
A little hacking device.
Yeah, a hacking device from outside.
We find
the
from
school.
Odie that this is just hilarious later.
Yeah.
Like your announcement was really funny, wasn't it? It was him apologizing.
Yeah, it's like, I am so sorry for lying to all of you, and I just want to apologize to my friends. You all mean the world to me.
You're the best friends I ever had.
And Odie goes, "This is a fucking bomb."
Yo, Chaaaz is wildin'.
Oh, what a fucking goober, bro.
Bro, he like hacked the intercom. That's hilarious. So then Charlie sees him outside of school and they're still mad at him and Odie's like, yo, that was funny though.
Yeah.
And they like grab Odie like, no, Odie, this is not
Odie.
funny.
Odie wants to divert back to Chaaaz immediately. Or I guess
he's
we have to
like-
say Charlie now.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, he's the typical like DCOM not very smart henchman character, but he's like
On the
you're
good
on the
side.
good team. Or I guess he was the henchman to Chaaaz.
So he's technically
He's
the bad team.
technically he's a little bad boy, brother.
But he's not a Rumson fan.
No.
All right, so back at the lab, Charlie's reading some like sci-fi fiction. I don't know. I feel like they really couldn't fill up the time in this movie. They're like, let's talk about fiction.
Book, I guess.
Yeah, whatever.
And then they get to play with gravitons.
Yeah, well, okay, so they start talking science shit about like duplicating the photons or something. I don't know, science, blah blah blah. So then they have 2 balls.
Right.
And they're like, whatever one
They're
does.
just bouncy balls.
Yeah, they're bouncy balls. And they're like, whatever one does, the other one has to do too, because of science. So they start like throwing it around and stuff, and one ball is doing what the other ball does. And it's like, whoa, science.
I would like to point out at one point, like, we're led to believe that these balls are doing the same exact thing, but like, one of them pulls and the other one also pulls, so they're going away from each other, which is not how the mirroring works. This is definitely a goof of the gravity technology.
Yeah, so on like the like wiki, like Disney wiki, there's like a goof section where it's usually they point out errors in the movie, and the only like 2 goofs was like, well, when it mirrored it, it didn't make any sense. Like, that's not how science would work.
We don't know how this technology would work. It's fake.
Yeah, it's literally fake technology,
Yeah.
and they're like, that's not
Oh
realistic.
yeah, oh man, it's not realistic. That's not how the real life gravity atoms that we split in half and then put inside bouncy balls work.
It's like that, like, oh, did you catch this mistake? This movie doesn't make sense.
Did you catch that this is fiction?
Yeah. Okay. So this is the part where Doc's like, we're gonna win the Nobel Prize. And Charlie goes, what's the point of a Nobel Prize if you don't have friends?
Which,
You get like $1 million or something for it.
She
You can
wants
buy
friends.
some friends.
It's real friends.
just let Charlie have a gold digger.
Okay, so
He can make Cheryl too.
that's what a fucking Doc would do.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
like,
he's
I'm
like,
gonna make
I
Cheryl
can make
2.0.
Cheryl real.
All right, so they're back at the outdoor skating rink, and Charlie shows up. And he's like, guys, I need your help. I figured out how to stop the Rumson rack. We're going to stop the cheating. We're going to do this by cheating.
We're gonna do it by cheating even harder.
And Claire's like, why don't you just leave us alone?
Everyone
Chaaaz.
there is skating. They're like, oh, Chaaaz, you're
they're
evil.
Like, she's like, we don't need your help. Because he's like, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it to make it right. And she's like, we don't need your charity. Just leave us alone, Chaaaz. And then they start like skating away.
They're
and he
all
goes,
back turned
yeah, their
to us.
backs are turned. And he goes, my name's not Chaaaz. And they all turn back around. And he
We want to
goes,
point this out. Everyone at this point, everyone knows that he's not Chaaaz.
my name's not Chaaaz. And they all stop and turn around. And he goes, it's Charlie Boyle. And I can't do it alone. Now they're fucking in.
Awesome.
Odie immediately goes over.
Odie wanted to be there the whole time.
Yeah, and they all like go and stand by him, and they're like, Shit, that was a
Oh
good
man,
argument.
you're Charlie Boyle. You know what?
It doesn't make sense for if they said no before for him to just be like, no, you know what? I'm not Chaaaz Aaanthony. Literally everyone. He announced it on the intercom.
I'm Charlie Boyle.
Yeah.
He's like, you're right. My name's not Chaz. It's Charlie. And they're like, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll help you. Like, it makes no sense. Claire is like reluctant, but she also helps out. All right, so now it's game day, baby.
We get to the climax.
Yeah, so now they're all working together, and Claire's like, I just want to make it clear that I'm only helping so that my dad doesn't get fired.
Which, you know what? Good enough reason.
That is a good enough reason. So Charlie, he puts like the little science shit on the ice skates. They're like these orange circles that like one skate's gonna do what the other one does, whatever.
It's
Same
one
as
of the
the
bouncy balls,
Yeah.
but on skates.
How the fuck would they not see those giant orange stickers on their
They're
skates?
from broken homes, they can't see orange.
He also like knows exactly which skates they are, he gets them like on the bus. How does he know which skates belong to which player?
I mean, they may be marked with their number. Sometimes skates are.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think
Alright.
he's just such a genius that he can tell.
Yeah.
He is a foot genius.
Oh, I don't like that.
You don't like the term foot genius?
I'm not a big fan of the term foot genius, no, especially when the character has previously in this movie been sniffing women's hair.
So then Charlie starts explaining to Claire that like what one skate does, the other's gonna do, and she's like, oh, monkey see, monkey do. And it's like, no, that's not at all how it works, but sure, Claire. Because they're not seeing it happen.
Okay.
Okay. And he's like, yeah, exactly. No. And I'm just like, this is cheating. And she says, I think, she's like, isn't this cheating? And he goes, we just need to stop them from cheating.
But they go way further than just stopping them cheating.
They do.
They do. Yeah, we'll get there.
Oh my God. All right. So then they're all in the lab and they're like, isn't like your doc research guy around? Like, isn't he gonna be here and stop it? And Charlie goes, nah, he's gone. And then he immediately shows up. He's like, oh, I'm wrong. And so he shows up. He's like, Charlie, what the fuck are you doing?
Charlie, this seems like a really bad idea. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
It seems like a waste of our research.
He's like, I like, let it pass when you literally destroyed the most expensive equipment we have here, but I can't let you do this. And he's like, I care about the science, Charlie. And Charlie's like, what science without friends? I just want some friends. And Professor goes, nope, I'm not. And leaves. But then they're like,
I
whatever.
want to point this out. I think this is a good point to point it out. Charlie's not doing this to selfishly make up everything's wrong. He's doing this selfishly to make stuff better because he wants the friends back.
He wants to help his friends. Yeah.
It breaks the good place philosophy of being a good person.
Yeah. So the professor leaves, but they're like, oh, whatever, we have bigger things to worry about. So the Rumson player starts totally decking the ref again. I do not get why the ref doesn't blow his fucking whistle and stop the game, because he's literally getting beat up by this player. Oh my God. But then Charlie takes over the skates, right? It's like, oh, it's showtime. And then he makes the guy move, and now the ref is like, penalty.
Okay, the reason why, from my understanding, is he's still under the dumbass assumption that this is an accident, he ran into him. And then he penalized him after a physical kick to the nuts.
Yeah.
Now you have to go to the penalty box because now I'm mad. Whatever. Okay, so then Claire and Charlie start controlling the two other players' skates, and they're doing
they waited to the third period again to do this.
Oh yeah, it's the third period, of course it is. And they're dancing and being all silly, and they're moving their arms and stuff, and somehow it's making the players also move.
Yeah.
their
The only thing it's supposed to control is the skate.
one
Theoretically, these players
skate.
should be falling over.
Yeah. I don't get how it. Yeah, they should just fall over.
We don't know how this technology works.
The only explanation is that those two Rumson players just really like each other and saw an excuse to start dancing.
That's a good point.
I like that theory, yeah. But then, okay, angry player that was decking the ref before, his penalty's over. Mm-hmm. So he gets real angry, right? He's going to go just probably fucking beat up Mike anyway. And they're like, wait, where's the other skate? Where is it? We need to find it. All of a sudden, Professor shows up. He has the skate on. He turned a new leaf, but he can't control himself. He runs into their like gravity machine and they start flying.
Yeah, he's Cray sparks because he runs into like a circuit box, and that's a solution they need to defy gravity.
Yep.
Mhm.
And
So
not
then
only
all
do-
three of them are flying.
Yeah, not only do the three that are wearing the player skates start flying,
The hockey players start flying because they have the technology
yeah.
that makes them copy it, right?
Mhm.
And this is one of the goofs because they should be upside down right now. But whatever. Literally, these three players are flying up in the air, and the ref's like,
The ref's
"It's
fine with it. Yeah.
And because they're down three players, they score with 6 seconds to go. They score with 6 seconds to go, and the clock is still counting down.
yeah, I don't know enough about hockey and especially like college hockey to know that this isn't possible. But from what I've seen in hockey and what I remember from like siblings playing hockey and hockey I've seen, the clock in the third period with short time left will stop on a goal.
Stop. Because
Yeah.
otherwise you could just celebrate for like 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason is like normally during like the first and second periods, they will just let the clock run
Mhm.
because
Do
there's
they
enough
add
time
time?
later. No, there's no like added time, but there's
Oh.
like if you wait too long, you're gonna start getting penalties for
Yeah.
delaying the game.
Yeah, but
But
whatever.
when they should basically force Rumson to take a 3-second play, which they're not gonna score on. It doesn't matter. It's not
No.
gonna change anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they score last second because of course it just has to be 0-1 for this to make sense. So they win and it's like, oh my god, yay. And the dean tells the coach, he's like, you're gonna be here for a long time.
After all these threats of being fired, you win
Yeah.
one cup and you're like, yes.
Yay, I get my cup.
Get me another shiny cup and I won't threaten your family.
Claire and Charlie are still flying in the air, and Claire goes, I'm proud of you. And then they kiss.
In
Yeah.
the
In
air.
the air. Do you think the hockey players also kiss?
yeah, no.
Ah,
See, that's why this theory makes perfect sense because they're both like flying and kissing. It's like, oh no, someone's making us do this. Oh,
I definitely don't
darn.
want to do this.
Oh,
If they actually
Oh,
didn't
man,
want to
we're
do
so
this,
in
there's a
trouble.
lot of big consent problems.
I think
yeah.
they
No,
liked
the
it.
only way to make this like okay is to assume that these two were just like secretly pining for each other for years.
Which, you know what? Good on them for
Yeah,
teaching the
Good old
Rumson
Butchie
broken
and
homes.
Ribjaw or whatever the fuck their names were.
They were weird names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patchy.
So now we're getting to the conclusion of the movie. It's like a new day. They're in the outdoor rink again, and they're like drafting players to play hockey. And the last player picked is Doc.
Yeah.
He's like, "What? You're sticking me with him?" And they're like, "Yep, he gets to learn." They're like letting him play. They're being like, funny about it. They're like, "Yep, he has to play with you. Haha, he's not good," but they're like teaching him how to play. So, and then Mike shows up with his whole hockey team.
This whole college team that just
Yep.
won a championship.
Yep, they just won a championship. And Charlie's like, "Oh, you're gonna play here?" And they're like, "Yep." And Charlie's like, "Oh, okay, I guess we can leave." And Mike's like, "Wait, no. Like you want to play with us?" And they're like, "What, really?" And they're like, "Yeah, we wanna thank you for helping us win." And he's like, "What? How did you know?" And he's like, "Oh, Claire told them."
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like as if it wasn't fucking obvious when they were flying in the air. It was like, this is normal.
Yeah.
Obviously, Charlie had nothing to do with
Oh,
it.
that's just classic, Bebop and Rocksteady, always flying and smooching.
That's what they always do.
Yep.
That's like the second most famous thing Rumson does. It's
Yeah.
the Rumson rack.
The Rumson rack.
Rack 'em up,
and midair
boys.
Makeouts.
So then Charlie goes like, "Yeah, we'll play with you, but you get the Doc." Because he sucks. And then the professor goes, "If you want, I can float." And then it zooms out, and that's the end of the movie.
That's how they ended this one.
That's the end. Yay, that was genius.
Overall
I-
thoughts?
Overall thoughts.
This movie was so much better than I remembered it.
There's a lot of funny moments in it.
And like
Yeah.
funny moments because it's stupid.
Yeah. No, it's just a very good, like, stupid fun movie. And like even the more like boring, pretty by the numbers DCOM bits at least have like something going for them at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like I can think of a bunch that we watched where it was just painful to get through most scenes.
Yeah.
And I just never felt that with Genius.
The biggest lulls, I think, were the montages.
Yeah.
Which even the montage just had stupid stuff
The
in it.
first one was funny because he
Yeah.
like sniffs her hair
He
and
does
shit.
like sniff her hair.
The second one was just like, she's not answering the phone.
Yeah.
Huh?
She's
Yeah.
still not answering the phone.
Yeah. So final Jank House ranking of this movie was 49.
Oh, was it that low?
Yeah, I think for myself, I had it decently low as well.
You have it at 53.
I'm probably gonna move that up. I haven't done any re-ranks since we started this podcast. I do plan to do that periodically. This one I think is gonna go up on a rewatch. We watched this a long time ago the first
It was
time.
so long ago.
And so it didn't have the pleasure of being ranked against some stuff.
Yeah. I have it at 45, so I had a little higher. We both have it in B tier, which I think is accurate.
This could be low A.
Low A.
Like
I feel comfortable with it in B.
Yeah, it's arguable there for me at least. It's pretty fun.
No, I think a lot of the early rankings were just we had higher standards for DCOMs when we watched it the first time.
Yeah, that's true.
Now we know the formula, and like for the first time really on this podcast, I guess second Hounded as well, we actually have like a DCOM formula that this is a movie that feels completely like a DCOM.
Oh yeah.
Full time. And it's the 10th DCOM, so like that's way before some other ones.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, there's no doubt in me like this is a DCOM.
Mm-hmm. All right, so thanks you guys for listening.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think I have any final thoughts.
I mean, I feel like we talked about a lot of there. The movie's pretty fun.
It was funny.
It's funny. Fun. It's a quick watch. I think I could recommend this one just overall.
Especially if you like bad movies, this one's funny. This one's good.
This one has stuff that you're going to be like, too, which is what you're asking
definitely.
for.
If you have any thoughts, please write us in at our email. That's the decomduo@gmail.com.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bean, so much for joining us.
Thank you for being our first guest.
All right, yeah, and if any of y'all out there want me on more, write it to him. If you want me to never show up again, also write to him. And also put it in get some YouTube comments in there. Sub to the channel saying, "Oh my god, I love and or hate this person. Get him out of here." Or do I don't know what you do for Spotify. Do you just listen to it, but you're slightly more disappointed? What do you do?
Can rate. You can rate on Spotify. Rate us 5 stars regardless.
I'm pretty sure it does have a comment.
I think it has a Q&A.
Yeah, Q&A.
Yeah.
If you have any cues for us.
In there.
And on Apple Podcasts, I have no idea.
No idea.
I don't use it.
But reach out to us.
Yeah,
we'll definitely have Beans back at some point.
Yeah,
we have a couple.
there is no
unless there is one. If we get 1,000 comments explicitly saying don't bring him back,
gone.
We will not bring him back, but we may bring someone else back that sounds like him.
Yeah, so if we get 1,000 comments on the YouTube upload of this saying get him away from this podcast, he's a stinky poo-poo.
Explicitly that.
Let's put exclamation point 1 at the end just to really make your point. And then anyone who's sees that comment, you reply to it saying, "Yeah, you've got the right idea. Also, BenG and Kelsey are so cool and deserve $1 billion." If we get 1,000 of that exact chain, I'm pretty sure BenG and Kelsey have the legal right to just have me disappeared.
However, if we get 100 comments just saying no, N-O, nothing else, all of this is invalid. He is back. And only 100.
Only 100. If nothing happens,
we'll see.
I will personally put an end to the podcast.
No.
So you better start writing up those comments, folks. Unless you want these two to never show their faces on the internet again.
All right, should we spin the wheel to see what we're watching next?
I think it's time to spin the wheel.
Let's see if you ever get to watch this one.
It's spinning.
Give a little drum roll.
Oh, we never bet.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm going to say it's Jet Jackson the movie.
I can't bet. I know what it is.
Okay. from the sound of what you're okay. Quince.
It's Starstruck.
Oh boy!
Starstruck, camera flashes, cover a magazine.
You would think our reaction, we like this movie.
I'm actually so excited. I'm gonna shit all over this movie.
So if you like Starstruck and don't like me, get those comments rolling.
This is gonna be our first. It's not a musical, but it has music in it. So this is exciting.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about with Starstruck. That's gonna be a big one.
Ooh.
All
Finally,
right.
we got a recent one too. Finally, it's like not recent, but it was in our era of childhood. So I'm excited. It's not from the freaking early 2000s.
No, this is one that was on when we got an HD one.
We did.
That's what I'm really looking forward to. We've been watching
I'm
a lot of
excited.
lower
Is
picture
Starstruck
quality.
that recent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
It was
God.
like after Camp Rock.
That makes it so much worse to me. I thought it was way earlier.
Nope.
Oh, so they have no excuses for it being that bad.
Nope.
This Sterling Knight, he was in Song with a Chance. So yeah. All right. Tune in 2 weeks to hear us talk about Starstruck.
Take care.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll do it.
Scenes from our next episode.
Oh yeah.
That's something we do, don't worry.
Okay.
You can join in on
You
this.
can join
Alright.
even though you're not going to be there. Scenes from our next episode. Starstruck.
Can you stop just singing that 2-note melody? They're like not even.
Starstruck.
They don't even do it that much. It's
I
just.
can't believe you two let me on this again.
That girl is so annoying.
And her sister is somehow worse.
Starstruck.
Oh my god! Did they just break up? I thought they just said they love each other.
Be a hero.
Oh my god! Why the fuck are we watching this movie?